Hey, oh, happy Saturday, everyone. How's my audio? Did I just blow your eardrums out or what? You know what? Let's take a look, see. I got my gain up for various reasons. So let me bring the gain down a little bit. Just a tad. Oh my goodness. Holy cow! My goodness.
That is a big super chat!
Extanglia. Very generous, healthy start to the goal. Next week, at this time, my family and I will be newly illumined. Beautiful. Our baptism is set for 8 a.m. on Lazarus Saturday. Thank you, Jim Bob and Tony. I don't know if I would have gotten here if it weren't for you guys. Well, God bless you, and all glory to God. Make sure you guys are pretty good about pictures. I'm sure Jessica, but I always love to see, especially the family level baptisms. That's just the most beautiful thing. So God bless you, Extanglia, and your family. I can't wait to see those photos. That's awesome. So exciting. It's just so exciting. So anyway, actually we got a couple of things going on tonight. I did see Father Spyridon. He posted just one of my favorite videos I've ever seen. It's only 15 minutes long about evolution. And I kind of wish more people were vocal against it, inside and outside of Orthodoxy. But we're going to look at that quick. And it's perfect because there's a debate over at MDD with the guy I debated, Dr. Greg, and our favorite, Kent Hovind. We'll have Kent Hovind on soon. I'm on his radar, so that's good. I'll have him as a guest, potentially a debater on Scud. So we'll take a look at that. That's going to come up around 6, but I figured we'd go over this video by Father Spyridon. He calls the myth of evolution. And his angle is really, I really relate to the angle of attack that he's taking here. So we're going to take a look at that and maybe go right into the Evo debate if it's ready. Yeah, it's about right. About an hour from now, that debate will start. We might sneak in and snipe Rachel. Honestly, I don't know how much I could watch two women yap about feminism. Rachel's really good at it. She'll win. But at the same time, it is two women talking at the same time. So maybe we'll go in sparingly, okay? I got a snack for that. Anyway, W late stream. Yes, this should be good. And honestly, I want to see how Kent Hovind does against Greg. Greg did horrible against me. And it wasn't even because I was like good at anything other than just going, "Hey, how does that happen?" And he's like, "But hey, what does random mean? How do you know something's random?" Brain freeze. Sure he lost in her opener. Yeah, I figured so. I mean, but it might be fun to peek in on it. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. So yeah, let's get into this. I don't know how much I'm going to stop it. It is 15 minutes long. I'll try to stop at only appropriate moments and let him talk most of it. And we'll see what's going on here, okay? Let's just start our lives.
Christians must reject the myth of evolution. We are bombarded with ideas and images that are intended to confuse us or distract us or convince us that there is no God. The world system of education, media, literacy, culture is corrupted. It presents a distortion of reality in order to blind us to the spiritual nature of our existence. One of the principal weapons in this war on truth, is the theory of evolution. To be able to understand this demonic myth of how we came to exist, we must first understand where it came from. The myth taught to the masses is that Darwin drew his theory as a response to the evidence. This is a lie.
Should I do my hair like that? I feel like if I pursue philosophy a little bit further, some theology, and I just get that hair, man, is that tempting.
As we shall see, evolution is a philosophy that was imposed on the evidence. To understand its origins, we have to go back to the rationalist philosopher Descartes, who at the end of the Renaissance had already created a philosophy that assumed natural causes to all physical phenomenon.
I think, therefore I did it. I am, because I thought.
It was a deliberate attempt to deny divine causes. At the end of the Enlightenment, a philosophy of progress had developed, and by the end of the 1700s, this was united with Descartes' ideas, and across Europe, many philosophers were espousing the concept of evolution, long before Darwin was claiming it to be related to scientific evidence.
Birds' beaks. Let's be clear. Bird beaks.
Darwin's Origin of Species was the product of these philosophies, though few modern biologists understand it or teach it this way. It didn't arise simply from scientific examination, but from a rationalistic desire to explain life in a way that could deny God as creator. Many modern people misinterpret technological advances as a sign of human development, and so this philosophy of inevitable progress has led man into the old heresy of seeking utopia, seeking perfection of man on earth. After the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917, the opposition to Darwinism among Russian scientists was completely crushed by the communists, who
cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Saw evolution as an instrument of propaganda in their attack on Christianity. And we see the BBC using it today in their promotion of atheistic dogma. All of us are taught this philosophy throughout our lives. It is a materialistic worldview that is absolutely and completely alien to authentic Christianity. And not just alien, but contradictory. Because it is a denial of Christ, a denial of Christian belief. Our faith teaches that man has descended from paradise to immorality to corruption. We do not believe that any development without God can lead to perfection, and we believe that perfection will only be achieved in the age to come.
Wow. Well, well done, well, Emmanuel. That was just the least amount of words, the most amount of impact. That was.
Not in this world. The falsehood of evolution has manifested itself in many heresies, because it treats morality and the standards of the past as stages in the process of progress. Mm-hmm. Objective, divinely revealed truths are relegated to inferior parts of man's ongoing development.
Yes, and what goes hand in hand with morality is truth. So you've heard autonomous epistemology versus theonomous. You could say autonomous morality versus theonomous morality. And you get the same problem when you critique these bottom-up people. And, they're bottom-up in more than one way. And what this idea of progress is like a building upward of humanity. I'm going to build up. It's like apotheosis. It's transhumanism. It's using pure rationalism to elevate mankind. And what are you departing from? What are you transcending? What is it you're transcending? Well, ultimately, it's death, which is kind of ironic, being that they're rejecting Christianity, which in its paradigm offers the defeating of death, both an exemplary position on that, and also theosis. And they're trying to do it anyway, which is like everything ends up being an inverted counterfeit of what they're rejecting. We're going to transcend death. We're going to defeat death. We're going to defeat the world. Take a Gnostic view. The world is a prison and we're going to escape it. The Truman Show. It's the same. There's not many views. There aren't many views. There are very few worldviews.
And so we see ecumenism recognizing itself as higher than any one set of doctrines, seeing itself as a further stage of development. And similarly, globalists see national identity and culture as something to be dissolved into a one-world unity without distinction or category. Christians can't play games with their faith when it comes to evolution. It isn't something to be woven into our worldview or our understanding of reality. Evolution is a philosophy deliberately created to reject God.
It is. It's history. Now, not to do a genetic fallacy, but you can't ignore the foundations of it. It's philosophy, and guess what? It's still philosophy. And there's not even anything wrong with the use of philosophy. It's just that if you're saying it's not a philosophy, like all the people I debate, no, this is science, which requires philosophy also. But no, it's a philosophy. It's a view of origins. And a view of origin, whatever your view is, the origin is the thing that gives you your teleology or the absence thereof. And evolution as a philosophy entirely removes teleology, any purpose, not just at the grand scale, but at the micro scale, at the activity scale. It's all dysteleological.
And so lead others into this rejection. Evolutionary belief is atheism. It is utterly incompatible with the mindset of the Church Fathers. When we read St. Ephrem the Syrian, St. Ambrose, and particularly the commentary on Genesis by St. Basil, we see that a materialistic origin to the world, which today of course masquerades as science, is in opposition to Christ. The Fathers...
And in opposition to Christ, it's in opposition to humanity. It's in opposition to even the animal creatures. It's in opposition to universals. It's in opposition to truth. It's in opposition to any positive view of. It's in opposition to ontology itself. Flux. It's a flux. It's a flux machine. It's a blender.
Identify different kinds of living creatures at creation. But evolutionists make an unprovable claim that one type can not only change into another type, but that they all have a single common ancestor. Variation and change within types as a response to environment is provable. But in no way does this contradict the teachings of the Fathers. Sadly, many people today are content to be told that such adaptation equals evolution. It doesn't. and any honest biologist will admit this. But it isn't just those who are ignorant who have embraced the philosophy. Some modern Christian scholars have tried to present Genesis itself as an allegory, some kind of poetic myth. They make the claim that Genesis has no historical truth. Those who reject this are often portrayed as primitive or even fundamentalist. But St. Basil the Great and St. John Chrysostom are examples of the Church Fathers who specifically warned against this very deception being taught even in their own time. It certainly isn't anything new or modern. Heretics have always claimed that Genesis has no relation to historical truth. The Church Fathers defend the historicity of Genesis, and we must understand that the fall of a real man was corrected by the perfect life, death, and resurrection of a real man. Christ's saving actions redeem us from the cause of death, just as the perfection of paradise to come is the restoration of the paradise lost through Adam's sin. The teachings of the world so often masquerade as something neutral or claim to have scientific objectivity. But in reality, they reach conclusions driven by the philosophies that seek their intended outcome. Perhaps ironically, today the development of genetics and other sciences are leading many scientists to admit that much of the scientific evidence contradicts the philosophy of evolution.
Do I ever use the P53 Guardian? No. I'll have to look that up, Hurricane. You could send me some stuff on it if you want.
Biologists generally believe in evolution, but not because of what their specialism tells them, but in spite of it. But the contradictions are never revealed to the general public, and an allegiance to the myth is a cult-like necessity in order to be accepted and, of course, to be paid.
Absolutely. 100% to that.
Honest scientists admit that undirected natural causes can never account for the biological complexity that we see around us in the world. Molecular genetics has shown that the combination of natural selection and random genetic mutation are entirely incapable of producing the complexity of life we see in the world. In fact, rather than leading to the process of evolution, molecular geneticists have shown that mutations, on balance, lead to a loss of genetic information at that genetic level. Things do not become more complex. They do not acquire information through the process of mutation. And of course this entirely supports the Christian belief in the fall and the corruption of the world leading to degeneration.
Baptist Christian. Hey, Baptist, are you a Baptist? I'm not sure why you're making declarative statements about this man and his position in the church. From what position? You're just making assertions, bro. Just chill out and listen to the talk on evolution and stop guiding everyone toward you. Okay? Just put it aside for a second. He's talking about evolution. Focus.
Scientists now know that the human genome was not created by mutation, but in fact the opposite is true. The human genome is 100%. Deteriorating because of mutation. This reality is withheld from the general public who only hear the mantra, trust the science. But we have to ask, which science? Whose science? Evolution.
Bro, stop spurging out in the chat, Baptist. We're talking about evolution, and it sounds like you're just inserting new assertions. You say one thing, it gets addressed. You say another thing, it gets addressed, right? Stop derailing. Get him out of here. Kick him out of here. Guillotine. Jortlandian guillotine.
Is based on faith. Faith that there is no creator God.
Holy cow!
God bless you, Jim Bob.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Josiah.
great stream tonight, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you so much.
Josiah.
Thank you so much, Josiah. God bless you.
And it simply doesn't match the evidence of the world. When man rejects God, he doesn't just adopt a neutral stance. History shows he runs to the arms of false gods. Atheism leads man to idols and demons. The theory of evolution and its scientific materialism is now proving inadequate in the face of new scientific research. And so many of Darwin's disciples are now
Darwin's Disciples. That's a book name. Oh, is that a book name?
looking to pagan and demonic beliefs for explanations.
Not even just pagan, but yeah, that too. But certainly, I might actually have to do a research stream on this. Hinduism, the kind of overlapping view of life itself, the overlapping between evolution and evolutionary view on reality and a Hindu view on, they kind of do a bit of a tango, don't they? Just got done with my first Vespers. Vespers is one of my favorites, Giovanni. Glad you liked it.
We see them embracing ideas about multi-dimensions and, of course, the inhabitants of those dimensions. And so it is inevitable that demonic manifestation will only...
What am I sipping? I'm sipping a rye. Someone got me a rye for my birthday. My soon-to-be godson, my first. So, Sar, please don't. Please don't, Sar. Yeah, you'd think Vagine would be popping off right now.
increase. Christians must become aware of the deception they're being taught. Only when the truth of Christ is grounded in our day-to-day existence can we guard ourselves from the whispers of the father of lies. The savagery of communism, the expansion of
Big Bad Mama?
globalism, have their foundations in the godless ideas of progress.
Hope this makes sense, Ito says. If Orthodoxy rejects natural theology, do they still affirm in a way that God speaks through creation? Yeah, it's the term. It's important to not commit a sort of word concept fallacy. If you look up natural theology, you can find an account of the wording natural theology from an Orthodox perspective, but natural theology, as it applies to Catholicism specifically, it's not the same. So you got to take a nuanced approach and just be sure not to just take the words that are placed next to each other and think they mean the same thing. You know, the same thing with like sin, when we examine sin and the state of human beings. It's important to I might actually reach out to Jay and do a dual stream on that, because people, not many, but there have been enough in my own chat who are like, you know, Orthodoxy does affirm something like natural theology or whatever, and it's just not the same thing. But it's a worthwhile topic to actually dedicate at least a half of a 5-hour stream to. So I'll definitely consider it. I did a little bit of research about 4 or 5 weeks ago on it, and how, in short, the terms, you can't equate the meaning just because they share words.
And of creating an earthly utopia. Only in our recognition of ourselves as fallen creatures
Thank you for
in
that,
need
Trayvon.
of the guidance of the Church Fathers and the counsel of the Holy Spirit in the Church's discernment of the royal path, only in the fullness of the Orthodox life.
When he says mutation is a deterioration, would this also be a result of God stepping away and allowing man to have what he wants when man chooses sin? I would say deterioration would be consistent with the fall, that the nature, metaphysical and physical nature of our reality, not just in man and biology and the rest, has a type of deterioration that's built into it that's not deterministic in a sense, like there's no way around it. But in the world, physically, purely, the fact that we die is a symptom of this. The fact that things decay, the fact that things have disease, that we're subject to the elements and such. I would say it's a feature.
Can we walk the narrow way Christ calls us to follow? The devil's lies have led us to an age of spiritual madness. And all of it began
Spiritual madness.
with the separation of our existence from our Creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and our existence from creation itself. So to deny creation, the reason you deny creation, well, they think it's evidential. Oh, I don't affirm creation because it's not evidential. And you're like, what? So what's more? Is it evidential that unanimated matter grew arms and is now doing philosophy? That matter itself, inanimate matter, accidentally did philosophy. Cuckoo. But if you separate creation, if you can deny creation, you can deny creator. It's like a two-step program. But the consequences are insane. Like he said, spiritual madness is really a perfect phrase for it, isn't it?
True repentance requires us to surrender the intellect to the patristic worldview. Too many Christians are so formed by the secular philosophies of the world that they try to combine and conform an atheistic worldview with their Christian faith. But this is self-deception and a clear sign that the person has not fully converted.
It's actually a funny skit, none of your business. It's just a two-step process to spiritual madness. Hi. Would you like to sign up for my program? It's just a two-step process to spiritual madness. Tired of order in your life? Tired of things making sense? Tired of there being an immaterial, unjustified cohesion between conceptual mind and matter? Is everything making too much sense to you? Well, I can end that right here, right now, today, with 19 payments of $19.99. There's no one out there who offers what we offer, which is a two-step program to spiritual madness. I hope you consider it. We have a lot of payment plans.
Converted to the Christian faith, that they've not yet fully surrendered their mind to Christ. We can't cling to the false security of our old paradigm
Your luck.
if we are to be
That's a
redeemed
steal.
and saved.
Yeah. I mean, let me guys know if there's anyone who wants to sign up. Just send in a Bob chat or a super chat for $19.99. Two-step process. They call it the two-step, the UTEP two-step. Shout out to Tim.
We must
Hardaway.
examine ourselves. We must
What a
identify
deal.
how we are affected by the deceptions and lies of the world. We must condemn and reject them when we see them in ourselves. The devil has no desire for truth. His philosophies are not just
$400.
lies, but part of his attack, part of his strategy to steal our souls. Let our hearts be as simple as those of
A Decept two-step. The Decept two-step.
children. Let us recognize that Christ is the truth. May God preserve us from all lies, that we may surrender our whole selves to God's love.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. So yeah, I mean, when you reject, there's a reason he said deliberately that Christ is the truth. What is the truth? Pontius asks. Nope. Who? When you get rid of the who-ness, honestly, you get rid of your own who-ness. When you reject God as a who, you reject your own who. You become some sort of you-who. You're a wahoo. A hoodad. A Wibbledorf. A Krinkelschmidt. A Frackelzilch. A Paddlewag. A Frigglesmorph. A Dingledang. A they-them. A Zezer. A Troon. A clone. A clone. Send in the clones. You become an it. They're like, I'm a who. I'm a who. No, I'm a who. No, you're not. You're a pile of biology. You're like an accidentally assembled IKEA bench. There's no who. There's no metaphysics. There's no person. There's no mind. If you hold to evolution, not only do you deny truth, but you deny your own existence. In the sense that you have a mind that observes and navigates. There's a who in there. That's not identical to matter and motion. There's an observer, an evaluator, a knower, someone who animates the body, someone with will, someone with culpability, someone with dignity, someone who can declare X and act on it. You deny all of that from the evolutionary view. You deny responsibility. How convenient. You deny your own purpose for reasoning. Shout out to Not a Professor Dave. There's so much that's made impossible from the evolutionary view. So much. It's not... Its own view becomes impossible. That's what's so self-refuting and unique about it. Worldviews reduced to a bubbling crew. Oil, that is. Black gold. Chemical reactions debating each other online. Goal? Who dat? Yeah, pay it. I'm an it now. Pay it. Yeah, slop. In fact, not even hyperbolic. Actual slop. I'm slop. Who are you? What are you? I'm slop too. Do you want to debate about it? Oh yeah, that sounds reasonable. That sounds reasonable. Yeah, I'm a pile of sludge. Do you want to meet sometime and debate about it? I'll do the affirmative, and then we could look at the evidence. That's... what? I'm missing the Rachel debate. Guys. Relax. The slop bob. I'm slop bob. Slop bob. Reasonable slop. Yeah, reasonable states of affairs. Philosophical molecules. What? molecular propositions, smart pond scum, smart scum. Jim Blob. Your Honor, my client is a slop. Your Honor, my client is determined to do everything he did. So, how's that not insanity? Honestly, think about it. Why do we let people off a little bit, right, with like convictions? Now, it's not to say we don't put them in jail or put them in a padded cell. It's just that the way in which we prosecute is totally antithetical to the religious evolutionary view. Right? Thank you for your pennies. Appreciate you. And so what do you look at? You look at, well, he wasn't in the right mindset, or he didn't. When you say that, they're saying he couldn't have done otherwise. That's what it means. It was determined because he's retarded. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's thinking. The same reason we protect children from making choices that they're not fully developed enough to make the decision on. The same reason we protect children is the same reason we are light or prosecute people differently who are stuck in the mindset of children. But if you're deterministic, if evolution was true, everything you did, everything would be seen the same way. The same way we see a child and we say, well, they're still children. They're kind of just acting out. They need to learn. Or they're adult children, and they couldn't have done otherwise. They just, sorry, Your Honor, he's out of his mind. We're pleading insanity. What does that mean? That means you don't have the capacity to reasonably animate your will. The judge hits the hammer and goes, yeah, that seems about right. Well, that would be true for everybody. If evolution was true, that'd be true of everybody. Crazy. It's a crazy world. Yeah, what's a decision? Yeah, what's a thought? What's an evaluation? Think about this. It's fun to bring it into law too, because it gets really hyperbolic. What's the verdict? I don't know. The clump of determined cells are deliberating in the back room. Well, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take for the clumps of cells to deliberate deterministically? I don't know. They've been here for. They've been smashing molecules for. I think it's been about. They've been in there for 3 hours. We have to fix this determinism. Yeah. It's crazy. These people are nuts. And usually it's always like a protection of some behavior they're doing anyway. Every time. They can't help themselves. They say it out loud most of the time. They say it not even coded in language. They go, oh, well, no. I mean, I don't really see a difference between a kid and an adult. Who was the last guy who said that? That philosophy guy? He said that. Anyway. Yeah, Your Honor. Question is leading, Your Honor. I am doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's right. Just like Muslims. Well, he was determined to do that. Allah dictated all. And then the judge goes, well, yeah, Allah dictated that I dictate the beheading. How about that? How about them apples? That's right. There's no difference, Seth. I always bring that up. Farting, talking, even the intestines kind of look like the brain, but in strand form. All right, let's see what Rachel's up to.
Women out of the home and into the workforce, where then the workers of the world could unite and we could get enough numbers on the socialist side to have a socialist revolution. So that is definitely not a capitalist position. That's a Marxist socialist position. And then.
Yeah. Is persuasion a violation? Well, no, it's actually worse than that, JB. It's that persuasion isn't possible. It's not possible. Persuasion's like if you recoded a calculator to output boobies. What is boobies? 8008135. Were they persuaded? Was it a persuaded calculator? I mean, you got to be a real nutcase.
And you had this assertion to Andrew that people with prenuptial agreements get less divorce. And he argued that, okay, that's...
The prompt is, if this is your favorite stream, help reach the goal. That's the prompt for tonight.
Could be correlated, but you can't prove that that's the cause or the reason. And I did a deep dive on that data, and he was absolutely correct. Instinctually, he didn't have data at the top of his head, but he knew that that was instinctually not causal. And when I dug into it, I in fact found that there are small like surveys they've done where it seems that people who...
It's just feminist. Honestly, whatever habitually has very broad prompts, and maybe that's the purpose, is like you can get into a lot of territory. Generally, I like very rigorous prompts, very straightforward, reductive prompts. It's like...
who have prenuptial agreements maybe have less divorce,
chemicals,
but that's a selection bias issue, that
my chemicals, thank your
people
chemicals.
who have prenuptial agreements have higher incomes, they have more education, so there's nothing causal there saying a prenup is going to put you at less risk. It's more of a correlation. So I think there's just like a whole bunch of misunderstandings about this, and I'm super glad that we get to sit down and talk about this. The great Rush Limbaugh used to talk about the info babes at Fox News, the right...
And by the way, Rush Limbaugh is Jim Morrison. That's the new thing. Soon to be talked about, perhaps, on Candy Owens.
Wing conservative media
Thank
women
you, Austin.
And say, hey, this is a problem because they're actually not conservative. They usually have a separate agenda for women. They usually have more of a classical liberal egalitarian view. And to me, that is feminist. I mean, feminism came out of the Great Enlightenment and the idea of egalitarianism, of trying to make everybody equal, social equality, social justice. So,
yeah, like it's without the rigor of the image bearer status that can only really be defended through an Orthodox paradigm. They swap it out for, it's self-evident that we're kind of equal, right? It's self-evident all men created equal, and they can pursue cadavers, right? They can pursue anything they want, really. American Nacho, what's up? I like how you had to pretend you forgot it was 8,008,135, like you didn't know it's... I know.
I'm happy to get into this and sort that out because I don't think it's a conversation we have enough.
8,000,000.
And does that conclude your opening statement? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead with your opening statement, please.
Absolutely. Hi, guys. Happy to be here again. So...
Oh, yeah. I'm actually... This isn't even live. I'm about... What? I'm about 4 minutes behind, so this is going to be your opening statement. Great.
For clarification, no, not a feminist in any way. For the first time in my life, I actually was called a feminist just a few weeks back when I was on the show by Rachel's husband. I'm pro-capitalism, pro-life. I'm pro-marriage, pro-children. I'm pro-Second Amendment, pro-small government. I am pro-U.S. Constitution,
Ruh-roh.
homeschooling, and I believe taxation is theft.
Oh, boy.
What I lovingly call repeal the 19th Rachel,
Oh, boy.
and I disagree on, is that women have a right to vote and have equal rights under the law as men do. That's it. I am not here to argue in favor of feminism, and I really don't care about its history. My argument is that the root cause, like you mentioned, of most of our societal problems is the current disconnect between men and women, which has been encouraged by years by different entities, government,
And education in Africa and such like that.
entities to divide.
By the way, why is Carrie Prejean, this chick reminds me of her, why is she Why is she the one gallivanting around being the spokesperson for right wing? I don't understand what's happening.
And conquer us, put us at odds with one another. Not that women can finally vote. That's not what's causing it. And to help create a strong society with strong families, we need to bridge this gap, yes, between men and women and get both sides to understand the other's inherent value.
And such.
I also live in reality. We are currently in a never-before-seen scenario in history, right? Unaffordability is the highest it's ever been. The gap between wages and home prices is the largest. It's
Oh, wow. She's not connecting, I don't know, sending massive amounts of women out in the workforce. She doesn't see the connection between, I don't know, you just saturate the job market with anybody who has a mouth and such. And I believe in affordable and such housing and this
ever been. I believe that's by design, to keep us, pissed off in a rat race, unable to reflect on really, who's behind all of this so that we can
Cool it with the anti-Semitic
Who is it? I
remarks.
just skip it. It's fine with me. Look, if you say it. If you say it.
unite as a
Rachel's just
Society.
like. Rachel just thought. She didn't say it, but she thought it.
society and fight back against it. At the same time, women and men, well, women specifically, have relatively recently achieved true legal and financial equality in
Oh boy.
history. In fact, Gen X, like Rachel here, because
boy.
I think it was 1980, which is the cutoff, is the first generation of women
And such.
to live under true equality
and
in the
such and education and such. Over under when this debate she becomes an overt feminist. Oh, it already happened. I'm like 3 minutes behind.
U.S., which was achieved with the Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974. Before that, women couldn't have credit nor get loans without a male cosigner, and that's only 52 years.
Excuse me? Getting credit? Wait, what?
Jim
Wait.
Morrison Bob.
Yeah.
Half Black Sabbath Justin.
What's up, Half Black
You were
Sabbath
making
Justin?
a similar argument I make against evolution earlier. The argument is, a baby born with one arm cannot be a mistake by evolution or determinism.
Right.
Because its DNA acted accordingly to produce a
Yeah.
one-armed baby.
Yep.
To claim a defect is to claim a metaphysical design intention exists.
Yes. Yeah. And further, it assumes some sort of normativity, some sort of incorrectness, universal incorrectness and correctness. That's why I always ask these people, is it possible is there a standard for the brain correctly or incorrectly working from an evolutionary view? And they freak out. They're like, God's not real.
Ago. So for the
such.
first time in modern history, women are not
Women be
financially
shopping.
dependent on men to live. And
That's false. That's still false. Here's how it's false. If you use credit and lines of credit as one of your arguments for equality, oh yeah, that's really a good thing. Oh, they're equally in debt. Isn't that amazing? That's like saying the female comedian is now equally disgusting as the male comedian. Shouldn't we celebrate? No. The reason that's false is that credit is still enforced. All of it's still enforced, so it's not equal. You're still held to account. It's still affirming a system that disproportionately relies on men than it relies on women. Women, oh, I can spend. I can rack up debt. Look at me go. Freedom. Liberation theology.
And I argue that we should extract the positive things out of this crazy situation that we're
And
in.
such.
And that's that since men and women don't.
Rachel just wrote, "You're dumb." Rachel's not taking notes, by the way. She wrote, "You're dumb. You're stupid. Why am I here?"
Financially need each other anymore. They can choose to come together for reasons other than financial
Quality
reasons,
intent.
like the character of the person. And I don't
The quality and the person, and everyone has the right to be enslaved.
know, love. So,
And such.
good,
And such.
loyal, smart, capable, intelligent,
And
emotionally
such.
intelligent men see it as their time to shine, right? Because it's not about the money anymore. It's about being kind, equally
Rachel's just losing
competent
it.
as
Look
an
at her.
adult, equally responsible for adult responsibilities, especially if you want to have a family. And this is what most women want now, for those of you guys that are hearing this. For the first time, we all know that the economy is absolute shite right now. Okay.
You're not seeing the connection here? I don't know. Are you not seeing the connection between what women vote for? Forget the influx of women into the workforce. Forget that. Forget debt, increased debt holders. Forget saturating the not just the job market, but saturating what it is to be educated. Totally saturated. Yeah, everyone go to college. Everybody. Even midgets can go to college now. What's that? And such, and the economy is like such in shite right now. And, maybe, I don't know if that has to do with, the trend of voting patterns that actually completely destroy America, not just ethics, culture, family, education. No connection there, lady? Where did they get this chick? What is she, a Lakers girl? What is she? What is she, a cheerleader for hockey?
Okay, and that raising a family on a single income is a luxury that most Americans can't afford. So instead of
Like
listening
college, don't
to
ya?
women-hating manosphere podcasts that call you men specifically losers unless you're making $1 million a year, and that say women are materialistic or...
Listen, that helps me. When my friends, the people I'm close to, text me, "You're a loser," that helps me.
promiscuous and therefore
Promiscuous?
they're responsible for the loneliness epidemic, I suggest listening to people that don't make a living off of dividing the sexes, right? And making the problem worse, which I think is evil. And if we're trying to promote strong traditional family units, well, which I am, despite the economy, men need to become the kind of leaders that women can look up to, can trust, and can depend on. And it's in a woman's nature to look for these things in men for partnership,
Rachel hears this music right now.
which means men cutting vices that keep you weak, addicted, and with a warped sense of reality when it comes to women, like pornography, which a majority of men consume. And
What happened to this small government argument? She doesn't see the correlation between small government that can infringe on the woman's. I don't know. She just argued that women make a lot of money now. Look, they got credit card too. Well, look, lady. Something awful like 10% of all women from like 20 to 32 have an OF account now. Because why? Well, because it's legal. We should and such hold to small government and such. And also, we need to really act against all of these behaviors and such so that people and men do good things, but women are free to start all of their weird foot accounts.
I argue is the single largest contributor to the decay
Rachel's hilarious to watch her face.
in relationships between the sexes.
Look at Rachel's
And I think
eyes.
afterwards, women will naturally want to look forward to relationships with men more. Because
And such.
why would a woman marry a man that watches porn and thinks it's okay to do that while in a relationship, which in my...
What do you mean, lady? You're the one who's the libertarian here. You'd have to say, well, it's because it's not really hurting anyone or something like that, right? This lady's going to get annihilated. They want everyone to have a job while bitching about the cost of living, hating corporations, responding to flooded market with a bunch of made-up and horse therapy and stuff, right? So college is less and less meaningful. It already was a little bit sus from the beginning, but now it's like beyond. It's just beyond a joke. But not only that, but exactly, JB, exactly what you just said. You bitch about the cost of living, you bitch about all this stuff, and you don't see the correlation between any of this. And it's all connected, by the way. It's like the household. Think about this. When you introduce the vote, you introduce a splitting of the household position. Why? Why is that? You know, with different sized states and populations, the way our representative republic is orchestrated and set up is that there's a proportionate amount of power for the size of each state and such. So there's not like a pure democracy effect, even though that's what a lot of these leftist progressives want. But you don't extend that to the family. You know, how many voices are heard? How many representations are heard in relation to the size of the state? Well, the home being the smallest state, right? You're like, oh, yeah, no, it's a home full of 3 people, 4 people. 2 representatives? No. What? What? That doesn't make any sense.
My book is emotional cheating, or why would she marry a man that wants her to work
One
and
more,
split
y'all.
bills,
One more 2 minutes. Who's going to get that last gold
which
net?
I understand is the reality of most Americans, but then isn't equally competent or responsible partner when it comes to household duties
And such.
or raising children. It just sounds like an irrational deal. Or
Yep.
worse, why would a woman
know,
want to
man.
give children to
rough.
men who think being a stay-at-home mom has no inherent value? It's just what women are supposed to do when raising kids right.
Remember the Camel ads where the wife would sneakily cancel her husband's vote? Yeah, exactly. There's power. There's a power in such. And such and such. They're taking our power back.
Is the pillar of a strong society.
Thank you, Gorilla.
And the market value of what a stay-at-home mom does is extremely high. Or worse, nowadays there's men that say women that do want to be stay-at-home wives means that they're gold diggers, when nobody ever called grandma or great-grandma a gold digger for being a homemaker her entire life, right? So the solution to our modern problems is in telling women
And such and
that they
such.
shouldn't be allowed to vote,
Okay,
of
let's skip it.
rehabilitation programs in prison.
Goodness
My
gracious.
argument,
They're
my argument,
Lord have
known
mercy.
to be
Rachel,
extremely abysmal.
Rachel.
That's why we.
I agree.
I'm giving this 10 more minutes, and then we're going to move on to evolution. I want to see Kent Hovind.
It doesn't work.
I agree. My thing
You
is,
can't educate people into making
Rachel.
moral choices, Driana.
For
I-
what specific crime? Is it just violent crime, drugs?
pick one for now, I guess.
Well,
See
it's
what-
Okay, how about
immediately-
this?
comes up.
Child sex offenders. Can we educate them into making better choices? Can Driana go and just sit them down
No.
and they have a dialogue
Rachel,
and she says, look,
are you
Mr.
done?
Child sex offender, I don't think that you're
Maybe-
violating someone
already
else's
sick of her.
personal rights.
Don't worry, Rachel. Only 19 more hours.
And on that basis,
Rachel.
I think you should stop it.
Rachel,
Rachel,
do you still want? Wait, one sec, really quick. Do you still want the recidivism rate for violent crime
Sure.
stat?
Yeah.
It's very
It
high.
says over 60% of violent offenders are rearrested for a new crime within 8 years of release. And then for yours, for addiction rehabilitation programs, it's not clear if that's just
Is Eat, Pray, Love
voluntary
biblical?
or
Yeah.
through the prison system, but the success rate ranges between 30.
New episode with George. What's the dude's name from that big podcast? Is Eat, Pray, Love biblical?
percent and 70%. Relapse rates of 40 to 60% within
Her
the
name's
first
Drana.
year.
Yeah, Drana on my life.
So I don't know if that's helpful.
So my argument is not that we not incarcerate people for these
I was born
crimes.
bigot.
It's the fact that people can change and rehabilitate. It doesn't
Jim
mean
Bob
we even
Smith.
release them into society.
Bro.
It means that you can change people's minds, absolutely, while they're serving a prison sentence. It doesn't mean that they
Perfect
have a
tense.
right to be reintegrated into society. So that's my thing, is that
Right,
yes,
so-
even in prison,
so
you
why-
can go in, even in prison, you can go in and you can preach the Bible to prisoners, or you can
Yeah, George
show
Janko.
them a better way, and you can absolutely rehabilitate them. I'm not arguing for lax.
I might have to animate that. George Janko would be fun to draw. Is Eat, Pray, Love biblical? That's so cool, man. Man, I love the sound of that. That sounds so true, dude. That sounded so good.
Christ criminal punishment laws. I disagree with
Okay.
that. But you're telling me, oh, you can just go
You
into
don't
prison.
want lax criminal laws,
Correct.
but why would you defend keeping OnlyFans legal? Why should we allow young women to create their own pornography, produce it, and put it out into the public? Why?
I disagree that it's bad, but the why is because
Wait, what?
then it says
She just said in her opener that men should correct their behaviors and not consume this stuff. What? What? See, look, I'm getting stricter and stricter with this stuff. I think that I don't even think women should debate.
that's a dangerous precedent.
I don't even think they should be on TV anymore. That's my one argument for trans, is that I don't think women should be in any of these positions. You know what I mean? Get back to the old times where it's like, well, you're not allowed on stage, but a dude who can do it, there, get Russell Brand up there.
For censorship in the future on things that other people don't like. Because let's say then we fall under the
So you think-
let me finish. Let's say we fall under the government of we have a Democrat president, and they believe that people saying right-wing things on live shows like this.
See what I'm saying? Okay, she's going to take this like constitutional protect saying anything above all. Well, dude, listen, lady, no matter if it's Democrat or Republican, you're going to have to choose what you allow to be expressed, okay? That includes indecency in public. Well, we shouldn't make X illegal because the next time the Democrats are in power, then they could make praying illegal or whatever. It's like, good. Then we'll have a nice war.
Is bad. So we are going to ban that. And they did, by the way, under the Biden administration. So that's what I'm saying. Banning things that we don't like and making it illegal is not the way to go.
Okay, so you just argued against banning abortion then. You just argued against, look, for people who say, I just don't like murder. I can't really give an account for why it's wrong, but I just don't like it. I want to vote on things I don't like to be immoral. She's like, no, and such. And such, and then what happens and such is that when you do this, then what happens later and such is that it comes back and hits you the other way and such.
The way to go is showing people why you're right with arguments, with facts, with logic.
Which then transpose into what? Look at Rachel. Look at Rachel. Rachel's making her own memes. What else can you do? Why? I mean, what else can you do? And such and such.
And we can't set the precedent that, we as conservatives and Republicans don't like pornography. It's bad. Therefore, we're going to make it illegal. Then when a Democrat president comes along, they'll say Republicans that
I get your point. You don't have to keep repeating and repeating.
I feel like I need to for you to understand
No, it's
this.
not me
So you
who's
got
having
it, and
trouble
everybody at home
tracking.
got it, that it's a bad precedent. Do you understand that
If
then?
you take the libertarian progressive view that you have, sure. But what I would say is
Send money and such
we
and
believe
such.
in right and wrong, don't we?
Yep.
Okay, why don't we make things illegal
All right,
if
this
they
is
are
dumb.
inherently morally evil? You said in your opening pornography is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we not criminalize why do we criminalize murder? Why?
Because then somebody that has a different
such and
definition
such.
of evil than me can criminalize something that I believe in.
Yeah, you don't get rid of that. Let's just grant it. You know what? I'm just going to grant it. So this is the logic. If we legislate our moral principles, then other people will do it. Yeah, and if you don't, guess what? The conclusion's still true, you bimbo. I don't even want to beat up on her. She just shouldn't even be in the seat. It's like yelling at a retard for not going down the slide at the water world. I can't even take it. It's so dumb. yep, the thing is and such, if we actually legislate what we believe to be evil, then other people will do that too. But the thing is, if we don't do that, other people will do it too. See my reasoning, Rachel, and such?
Like, for example,
So you-
saying that abortion is murder, then, we should, and by the way, this is actually happening in the UK. If I go out in the UK and I say abortion is murder and I read the Bible, I'm in the middle of the street, I'm going to get arrested. That's what
That's because
happens.
leftists like you run the UK. People with your same political positions run the UK, and they go,
you're arguing.
you
And
can't
such.
say that. You're going to hurt someone's feelings, and they'll be
That's-
upset, and then they won't vote for the Labour Party.
She's very robotic. She shouldn't even be in the seat. I mean, this is a setup. This is like bringing in one of those pigs on the chain into the slaughterhouse, and Rachel's been sharpening. She's just like, we need better opponents. We're getting to the end of the bench here. The starting lineup was annihilated like 2 years ago with these people. And now these, we're just like, hey, do you have any extra, I don't know, you got any intramural? Is that what it's called? Intramural? Got any club sport debaters that are just out there, Bring them in. We need some more.
Anymore. We need the Muslim vote. Don't tell them they can't have grooming gangs. That's you.
It is.
I'm
It's a
making the
mismatch.
argument that you don't ban what you don't like.
But that's the thing. It's like, what's a match anymore? That's what I'm seeing now. Like, I love that debates have become sort of mainstream in a lot of ways because of people like Andrew and Rachel and Jay and some other people. They were always there, but they weren't like the focus. Now they're kind of like the focal point in at least in some of these like subcategories of entertainment and politics. And but we're running out of people. So what happens when you run out of people? It starts looping a little bit. What do you do?
Like Rachel.
I'm not banning something because I don't like it. It's not that you think I want to ban pornography because I don't like it or because it's morally wrong.
Okay, that's what I believe too. I think it's morally wrong.
Then
as
why
well.
wouldn't you?
Cool. Why do you want murder to be illegal? Because it's morally wrong. Why do you want? What's going on? And here's not. Look. There is some nuance here, which is really where things get interesting. Is things that are sinful. It doesn't follow that they need some extension of force in every case, right? Like there are little transgressions, like the fact that we confess. The fact that we confess, how much of the confession isn't illegal, but it's immoral? Like what is it? It's pointing to immoral things, but they're not illegal. So it's not to say that anything illegal should be immoral, but if that distinction's made by this one, then it gets into some interesting territory. How do you navigate between legality on immoral things and how do you justify no legal consequences for immoral things? Well, this is where it gets into a worldview issue, phenomenon, and why it's really why it ends up pointing to an Orthodox position, which would be there's a state and there's a church. And Orthodoxy is really the only conception that can adequately separate the state and the church, but also unite them in a sense in symphonia. And that's what everything's about. That's what every argument's about. It's like a toilet bowl. Like all of the debating that's going on, even if you try to make it really surface level political, it's like this slow flushing toilet. And it finally gets down to the narrow pipes. And what are the narrow pipes are whose worldview uses the gun? Whose worldview informs the gun, I should say. Whose worldview informs the gun? Every single debate. That's why it ends up looping, because we're just all waiting. A very few of us, by the way, who listen, we're all just waiting for the toilet to flush and go, get to the pipes already. Get to the pipes already. When is it happening? Sometimes it takes hours. Jim Bob, this woman has so much comedic material gold to bounce off each other in the chat. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
You make it illegal.
Because somebody else might think that's something I believe in, like second.
So you believe in moral relativism.
Rachel,
so everybody gets to have their own version of right and wrong?
Like Second Amendment rights, the right to own, guns or whatever, that's morally wrong because it.
This is where Rachel can bring in Andrew's very sharp question, which is very simple. And we could all brand it in our minds, which is, if we don't deploy policy and enforcement based on our metaethics, then can you just tell me who's going to do it? Can you just maybe think of some, I don't know, opposition that might, I don't know, come up with an alternative philosophy? Yeah, who do you think's going to do it, lady? I don't think that's just like she's a walking, you know what this view is? It's a personified gun-free zone. That's what it is. It's a personified gun-free zone. It's like, yeah. No, didn't you see the sign? We don't like that. We don't like when you jump through our windows with guns and take our stuff at gunpoint. We don't, but I would never make it illegal. But I wish you would think like me.
It kills people. And then when they're in power, they will ban things that they believe are morally wrong. So that's why you can't set that precedent.
It's almost like this whole everybody voting thing is just a trap, and we're going to end up in a bad position no matter what we do, because it's inherently progressive and it will give us a progressive society.
It's almost like voting is a two-step program for outsourcing force for your beliefs. Have you ever wanted to take your philosophy and the things that you thought of that were good and bad and good and evil and horrific and beautiful, have you ever wanted to, I don't know, force that on people and think, well, that's probably going to be better, especially if I find a bunch of people who agree with me? Have you ever thought about enforcing your own beliefs onto people and call it a society? Well, I've got a two-step program for that. It's called voting, where you outsource violence, and you're in a battle of outsourcing violence. Now, you'd think it's like a great idea. Well, it turns out it wasn't such a great idea, because the proportion of beliefs, especially in a diverse, individualistic society like America and now the Europe, when you move away from homogeny and you have voting, then the polarization and the fractionalization of beliefs makes it unworkable. So I'm not even saying that there can't be a conception of a democratic element to society. I'm just saying when you have a society that the chick is arguing for, which ends up being purely Ayn Randian individualism, then you basically break the fabric of society into a multiplicity of incoherent, non-cohesive
I agree. Toilet
worldviews.
Symphony takes too much time.
Toilet Symphony takes too much. I know, we're all just waiting. But we're in the minority. Most normies are just getting their head around some of these things.
Where we can't tell people the truth and we can't say what's right and wrong, because if we offend someone, they won't vote for us. And if we offend this group, they're going to start rioting.
All right, let's move over, honestly. I mean, I'll go back if you guys want, but we might as well jump back and forth. I want to see what's going on with this evolution debate. Because we already know the answer. Oh, starting, they pushed it another hour. Well, I guess that answers our question.
Are you starting to figure it out at all?
Not offend. Again, just because you can't make good arguments that convince people.
I'm not the one who's having trouble making good arguments. That would be you.
Even if you made a good argument that convinced people to do what? Use a gun with a piece of paper. Here's the paper that says the rules. Here's the gun that enforces the paper. Paper, gun, paper, gun. live in a paper gun society. The debate is always informing the paper, right? Every time. Oh, that's why we should debate, because if we debate, we can persuade people, and then we're like, well, persuade people to do what? Well, to vote for paper. Why? Well, I mean, if you vote for paper, then it's justified use of force, right? And this is like my argument against feminism. I'll use everything Rachel and Andrew have crafted in the last 3-something years or so. But the thing is, like, this distinction is, I believe, is one of the most important ones. When a man votes, a collection of men, I should say, when a collection of men vote, the act of voting for a policy is the act of forfeiting their own revolutionary force. What they're saying by voting is, and it is a little bit passive, honestly, what they're saying is, me as a man in a collection of other men are sending in a waiver, a paper, to say we won't use force to make our wants and desires happen. We're going to use you guys to do it. So you have this society that's a little more orderly because men aren't running around in gangs. Instead of voting, they're doing the direct vote, which is the gun. That's the real vote that's happening. Even with voting, the real thing that's happening is the gun. So, okay, men go, okay, I forfeit my use of force. The question for the feminists and the women is, what do you forfeit? Is it nagging? What is it you're forfeiting? You can stop gossiping? I promise if I vote. I know men, if they vote, they're promising to not use force to revolutionize reality and overthrow things. And we as women are coming together as women, and what we promise is to not do so many neighborhood Facebook posts. We promise. It's like, that question can't be answered. Why? Because there is nothing that could be ever equivalent. There's nothing that could ever be equivalent for the collective of women that's equivalent to the collective of men saying, I will send in a piece of paper instead of using violence. Women don't have the leverage to do that. So what is it? Well, the closest thing they have is basically sex, procreation, access to their bodies, really. And in a good society, access to women's bodies through some virtuous mapping, I don't know, we had it, we still have it, but Christianity, then women can start to see what it is that their leverage is. It's completely different than men. It's not supposed to be the same. It was never supposed to be the same. Men wouldn't gain leverage if they stay home and pretend to be moms. If you give them a little, milk sack vest, you know what I mean? Like one of those puffer vests that's filled with milk. Doesn't make any sense.
No, you're saying that we should not allow certain blocks of the population to vote because they would, down the line, vote against what you want. And that is obviously not the way to do things. The way to do things is by actually talking to certain blocks.
You're not framing that correctly either, though. I'm not saying, don't let this group vote because then I won't get what I want. I asked
that's what I believe exactly what you're saying.
Let me finish. You just yap and yap and yap. So let me finish first. You said at the beginning, you work in politics. Your job is to go around the country convincing, especially Spanish-speaking people, to vote for Republicans. You want...
Seriously, why do men have nipples? Strongest argument for... Yeah, that's what's kind of funny about evolution, is that's their strongest argument. But that's easy to answer. The development of nipples precede the development and the finished developmental pathways for sex. So the reason men have nipples is because there's a necessary precondition that those glands develop before they develop as men. But it's a good one to
vote
be
for certain
things.
I educate personally, yes, but in my current role, yes, I educate people on what are the political policies going on, who's promoting them, what they are, so that they can make.
Puffer vest. What do you mean? Don't you know what a puffer vest is? I think I'm saying it right. It's like one of those cool racing vests, you know, that are like down and they have tubular filling. I'm going to get into them. When the winter comes around again, I'm going to swap the cutoffs with a cutoff racing vests. I'm going to make racing vests really cool.
Make educated decisions, because with
Right.
education,
I'm trying to do the same thing in a
Okay.
different way. And what I'm trying to tell you is that the fastest way to get to the dystopian nightmare that is the United Kingdom is to do what you're saying we should do. And
It's a psyop. Look, Marilyn, we don't even need to ban you. We don't take any of your takes seriously, okay? You're like the chick who's like at the comedy event who's heckling, but you're nice enough most of the time to not get kicked out. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, it's like bless her heart. You are the embodiment of the subject of bless your heart. You embody bless your heart. The meme, bless her heart.
you are also showing everybody that you're a moral relativist.
no,
I never heard of one either, dude. I could be wrong. I mean, I think that's what Megan said. Because I was like, what are those vests without the sleeves that are cool and they look like they're from the 80s? She was like a puffer vest.
I think that the quickest way to get to where the UK is by banning free speech, which is what you just advocated for. And
How
banning,
did they get there?
And banning things that you don't like.
How did they get there, though? Because the UK hadn't always had laws against free speech.
Nope.
They got that way because of mass immigration,
We can agree on
equality,
that. We can agree on that.
liberalism, all that
Absolutely.
stuff. Right.
We-
and that is what you'll
So
end up
let's
with.
address that
That's what
problem.
you'll end up with
It's hard, guys.
every time, because you can't just talk people into doing what's right. People vote
Yes, you can.
based on incentive. No, people vote based on personal incentive.
I agree with that too.
Yes. So if there's a group that comes into the country and they're getting welfare benefits, if there's single moms out there that get welfare benefits,
Which
things
is
like
highly illegal
they're
and
always
should have
going to
never
be
happened.
voting for that stuff. Yeah. But the reason we got that stuff is because women voted for it. Those things would have never been passed.
You know how awful it would be for men to date this chick? You know what I mean? You go out to dinner and she's mouthing off about politics and trying to give like some sort of political sermon. You're just like, stop. Do you want to be a mommy or not? You know what I mean? I can't say it enough. Every time I have some sort of misguided notion to even say something philosophical to Meg Bob, I'm so blessed every time when I look over to her and if I utter something that's really made for a table of men and she just looks through me. She's like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you saying? Why would you look at me and think those sounds? Even if I understood it, why would I care what you're saying, bruh? So blessed. Anyone else blessed in the chat? Yeah, that's a real based woman. It's don't look. I've given this rant enough, but it's like it's important as a reminder. If you're a dude and you're all base, especially you're young, there might be a misstep you guys expect. This is for the younger male audience. You go to church. Oh, I went to liturgy. I'm going to find a base woman. If she doesn't know what the councils are or she doesn't know this or that, it's like, no, that's not your criteria, lady. Dude, I mean, stop acting like a lady. Stop acting like you're looking for a man. No, I met her. She was really nice and really sweet. She wants to have kids. Everything's good. But the thing is, Jim Bob, she just really didn't understand the essence energy distinction. It was a real turnoff. What do you think about that? I got a 2-step program for that. I got a 2-step program for spiritual madness. Be a man who's into philosophy, reasoning, debate, policy, and, I don't know, go on a date and expect a woman to be as interested in that as you. First step, go on the date. Second step, start talking about it and get mad that she doesn't understand what you're saying. Two-step process for spiritual madness. Another way to avoid spiritual madness, as Anthony knows, is to pay your Jortlandian taxes. There's 5 of you, because there's 5 left in the goal and 1 minute and a half left to do it. There's at least 5 of you who aren't doing it.
I don't think that having an open border policy for 4 years, like what happened under the previous administration, is something that women voted for.
It is.
It's something that
have you looked at the polling data
women did
on men versus women on open borders?
Did women vote for?
Yeah, women, of course. It's actually their good nature. That's what's so infuriating about feminism. It's so infuriating because they rely on women's good nature and they misplace it into politics. Unbelievable.
For the Mexican-American border to be completely open so that 20
They voted for all of the people who instituted those policies.
30 seconds.
Yes.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did.
Well,
have you looked at border states? You just keep talking about presidential elections. Look at border states.
Anybody has
Would either of you
ever...
like me
Thank
to
you
look
so
up
much.
any stats on this?
No more taxes.
On the,
Thank you.
are men or women more in favor of illegal immigration?
Of open
Or
or
open borders.
immigration,
I think
whatever.
a better one would be the percentage of Americans that are for voter ID, right?
Don't worry about
It's 83% nationally. So men and women, Democrat and Republican, for the most part, agree on this. So women are not just these
I'm not saying
irrational
everything
people.
women want is terrible and horrible.
Okay.
I'm
just
not.
the things you don't like.
It's not about me and what I like. I'm saying there's an objective right and wrong, and there's objective morality.
I agree
You're
with
the
that.
one
Not
who
one
thinks
goal
that
met.
we should be.
Thank you, guys. Not one goal met. Not to be confused with not one step back. Not to be confused with not one back step.
I agree
pandering
with
to people's emotions.
yes, actually, you know what? That's a great
To
lesson
be-
to learn, is that people don't care
look,
about...
I wish there was another. Well, let's skip to live. Maybe it gets a little better.
That's what I'm saying,
Okay,
Rachel.
So I'm just going to defeat everything you said with one simple thing.
for it,
I'll just
Rachel.
point out the fact that the
for it,
only people
Rachel.
having children are the poorest people. So if the problem was money, we would see rich people having all the babies and poor
Knobs
people would
Nation.
not be having the babies. So you're absolutely wrong on that. In fact, we've done
Conservatives
studies.
are more responsible,
Okay, now it's
Rachel.
my turn. Now it's my turn. They've done studies on this because dropping birth rates around the world are an extremely serious problem. There are think tanks around the world, including the World Health Organization, that
I
are
agree.
saying this could be civilizational ending for
I
some
agree.
countries.
I
So
agree.
they've studied it at length. And the number one correlate around the world, regardless of culture, finances, religion, any other factor, is women's access to higher education and the job market. This means that when you tell young women to spend all of their fertile years going to college and preparing for a job and then get into the workforce and establish your career before you think about marriage and family, what you end
You end up like Michelle Wolf
up with is
or Chelsea Handler.
we have now women getting married and having babies for the first time at around the age 30, 31. When in my grandma's generation, shout out to grandma, she's turning 100 on April 1st, love you, grandma. She, in her generation, the first age of marriage was around 22. And you had a baby usually that same
So
year.
now you're also
what
arguing
I'm-
against women's
no,
education?
Don't put words
Yeah, why not?
in my mouth. Let me finish. You just yappity yapped that
I
whole
ran,
time.
Rachel. I ran.
So
Unbelievable. They always do this. It's like education. You think what distinguishes the cultures between America and Iran? You think it's only informed by education? What are you talking about? No, it's the theology. I don't care what anyone sells. Whatever is corn for Christians, this is smut. Those women with their hair all out for millions to see. Tons of hair.
It's an option, you know.
So the truth is, it's not finances. It's not men are weak, men need more testosterone, men need to get their bag, men need to blah, 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 which That's mind-blowing to me that you would ever pin this on men, because you're...
Look, I don't even think we should. It's the same with voting. Like, people are like, oh, you don't want to educate. Look, whatever constitutes education today, I think it's a good idea to mostly not educate anybody. We just got done watching what the root paradigm for education is, which is you're an accident. You're an evolutionary mishap. Not even that. You're an evolutionary effect. Why would you learn anything anyway? It's like, I'm not even for men all being educated. But if you include just doing stuff as education, sure. Learn something. Learn how to learn how to do stuff. Learn skills before you go to college. It's like this idea like, oh yeah, the public education system. You think that a base conservative is going to think it's some sort of remedy to simply sort of guide and divert women from education to family? You think that's going to resolve the problem of education? Hell no.
You're like the men.
Environment.
Don't interrupt me.
The government.
Don't interrupt me.
All of that
Don't
stuff.
interrupt me.
You did that
Don't
before
interrupt
to me.
me.
We're
Don't
all
interrupt
Russian
me. Do you want a
nubs.
bathroom break and I can just talk?
Go for it. Go.
Okay.
You got to poop?
You say we would have more babies if the men would lead. But then
Yeah.
you say, I'm
Yeah.
not going to follow a man. I have my own mind and I'm a strong, independent woman and I'm just as equal as he is and I think it should be equal. How can you be
Voting
equal
rights.
and he could lead at the same time?
Yeah, that's such a crazy concept for you to understand, but it is possible.
Okay, tell me how.
Oh,
I am in a relationship with a man that I also
she's going to cry.
look up to, that leads, and at the same time, we both vote.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
I just get so mad. I just get so mad. I just get so mad.
Clowns offer God's love.
I hate everything. I hate everyone. I hate it all. I'm going to buy a drone. I'm going to buy a drone. Are you tired of order in the world? Are you tired of things making sense? Well, I have a two-step program to tilt all of reality. For only $19.99, you too could be offset from reality. Finding yourself pooled with anger? Do you ever find yourself dressed in despair, weighted down by your grievances about society and the world? Well, I've got a two-step program. Roof maxing. Have you heard of roof maxing? Roof maxing could be the revolutionary remedy for society. Are you witnessing the downfall of Western civilization? Worried about recouping all of the investment of your ancestors? Roof maxing solves the problem.
What is it? Higher education degrees have lower rates of divorce. So since I am pro-marriage and pro-successful marriage, not just get married all willy-nilly, that is why I do believe it's a good thing.
And such and such and such. Honestly, you guys, there's like a whole half hour for me to get to this. I don't know if I can do it. And such. And that is such and such. Here, let's look at this, actually. This will be better. This guy, Mr. Kai, I can't even tell if he's a fan of any of us, but he's clearly talking about
was
stuff.
amazing. Oh my god. I can't believe it happened. Divinity finally confronted Andrew
Tony
Wilson.
Robbins.
And it was amazing.
What's the
I
system?
never said that.
He doesn't.
I never
Doc didn't say that.
What's the system for what the good is?
It's based on the facts of human nature and the requirement to flourish.
Divinity isn't saying the good is whatever people feel it is. The good comes from what a human being needs to live and flourish.
No, that still doesn't make sense. Listen, guy, Mr. Kai, I kind of like your takes. Your small channel, 339 subscribers. But no, that doesn't, you can't just redefine it and be like, oh, the good is just anything for survival. You've just included a lot of crazy stuff.
Even though divinity refers
Vocal fry, I need to work on vocal fry myself. I'm gonna punch myself in the throat. Are you tired of your natural voice holding you back? Not getting the credit you need at work and deserve? Consider Vocal Fry. Amazon, free delivery, comes in a box, self-assembled, Vocal Fry. It's just a everything's a two-step process. It's just a two-step process of two mixture components. It's like that special glue that you mix from Home Depot, except you put it in your throat.
to survivability several times in the debate, he's really using it as a heuristic for flourishing. Survivability is the first step. Flourishing is the end goal. To flourish means living fully as the kind of being you are. This includes acting rationally toward goals, becoming independent, increasing
Is he playing Assassin's Creed?
productivity, having self-respect, maintaining long-term emotional satisfaction, and maximizing biological health.
Yeah, that doesn't really get you the good.
According to objectivism, the good is that which supports human life and
Would you like some sauce on your vocal fries, sir?
flourishing.
Is that something that is stance dependent?
No.
Okay, how would you demonstrate this with something which is stance independent?
Yeah, the same way we demonstrate the principles proper to the life of a flower by scientifically investigating the nature of flowers and what their processes that sustain their life are.
Ooh, that dude, you just gave a softball. Did you guys hear that? These people are just ruthlessly dumb.
Life of a flower by scientific.
Listen to what he just said.
How would you demonstrate this with something which is stance independent?
Yeah, the same way we demonstrate the principles proper to the life of a flower by scientifically investigating the nature of flowers and what their processes that sustain their life are.
So.
Yeah, bucko. Hey, listen. The nature of humans includes doing all sorts of horrific things, many of which can be argued in the defense of their in-group peoples. The sustainability of their life and the flourishing of their particular sect of existence might include completely taking over other groups of people. I mean, there's nothing inconsistent there.
Here's the main problem with objectivism. It doesn't solve traditional morality. It redefines it. Objectivism says flourishing is the good, and moral actions are those that lead to flourishing. But there's an obvious question it never answers. Why ought I do what is good? Full stop.
No. Why ought? Yeah, well, you're just making synonymous good and flourishing. Why ought we flourish is what you're really asking. This doesn't solve any problem. Why ought we survive? Why ought anyone survive? Why? That's why you can't use a naturalistic paradigm in the end for this, because you're right. The Izod gap, Hume's guillotine, is rooted around just the natural world, just states of affairs. That's what it's rooted around. That's why it doesn't work, because he's pointing to states of affairs, physicality, empiricism can't get you. The is statement of what something is, that's a flower. That's starvation. That's this. That's that. just the descriptive of reality is an is statement. You can't get the ought from the descriptive is. But that doesn't follow that Christianity can't solve that problem, because Christianity isn't rooted in empiricism, purely descriptive truths about the world.
Why must I flourish? Why must I choose life? This is why.
Ask your doctor if roof maxing is right for you. Side effects may include moral societies, more testosterone, family values, and the ability to discern reality. Hit the goal, you monks.
Objectivism.
Or you mooks. I was like, why did you call people monks as a... They never add brutality when they say things like survival. I know. It's always some nice thing. Oh, we communicate because we survive together. Kumbaya.
Hasn't solved the is-ought gap. It already presupposes a value that one ought to pursue life and flourishing.
Can you demonstrate Eduardo's nature?
Yeah, he's a human being.
What is his nature?
He's a human being.
Oh, okay. That doesn't tell me anything. I'm a human being as well.
Yeah, exactly. You have this. Yeah, you have a similarity of the moral requirements to live your life.
You have. That's the part you haven't demonstrated. What's the similarity of this? Hang on. Okay, how is this a requirement?
How is it a requirement? Wait, how is what a requirement?
This is so retarded. This is like saying, in order to live an existing life as a human being, it's necessary that you're first a human being. Wow, congratulations. Have you considered writing a book?
How is it a requirement that we need more normative claims to live our life at all?
Because what it consists of being a human being, the method in which human beings survive is by adopting systems of ideas and then implementing them into their action. That's how human beings survive. And
which human beings? Look, I could survive quite well by annihilating a fair cluster of other human beans. It's not a problem.
Ideas that you implement are, in fact, those normative beliefs. That is why morality is a practical
you're granting yourself an awful.
survival.
You're granting yourself an awful lot here. First, you need to demonstrate that we need any of these systems to survive. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty obviously inductive, because if you take all of human history as the data sample, and then you say, how is it that human beings were able to survive? Each and every single time they did something that sustained their life, they applied their mind to reality, utilizing a system of ideas.
Cool. You mean like grape cereal? I mean, Andrew just has to do that. I don't know if he did during this exchange, but he could just say, is it possible that grape cereal is a necessary action for survival of the group? Is it possible that little Carla's sleeping in the mud hut, and big old hairy Tom has his way with her?
Wait, hang on. I just want to make sure I got this right. So you're now making a claim that because humans do that, they should do that?
Andrew's criticism here is correct. Humans using ideas to survive does not prove morality. It only proves humans need thought. I don't know what the hell Andrew was thinking arguing this point. He's just wrong. I think he's trying to save face.
Wait a second. That's not a refutation.
Tallness is a comparison based on size. It's an ordinal measurement. You're asking what's the particular quantification.
Yeah, but if you say a person over there is tall, you're not making a comparison necessarily.
You in fact are comparing them to the average person. Yeah, that's probably what you're doing.
Maybe, but maybe not.
That is in fact what the meaning of the term tall is. It's a comparison.
It could be, but maybe not.
What can you give me a use of the term tall that's not a comparison?
Yeah, you're saying that you think I think that that this is tall. That's it. That what are you don't.
What are you expressing
it's not,
when you say
it does not
tall?
necessitate? It does not necessitate comparison.
What would you be expressing if you said it was tall if it wasn't a comparison?
Whatever it is that your stance is trying to express.
He's obviously wrong. Tallness doesn't exist in isolation. It's a judgment relative to a standard.
What makes something a fact?
What makes something a fact?
Mm-hmm.
Facts aren't made facts. They just are facts.
Well, that doesn't answer the question.
Well, yeah, because the question.
No. This is crazy. This is reality's reality type of stuff right here.
Facts. They just are facts.
They just are facts. What makes something a fact is that it's a fact. Oh, well, that's funny because, historically, what you thought was a fact actually changed based on new data. So obviously, what you determined was a fact wasn't a fact.
Well, that doesn't answer the question.
Well, yeah, because the question presupposes
they
a
are because
category.
they are because they are as a tautology. Can you tell me what makes a fact?
You're presupposing that it's an explainable phenomena. Like the fact that facts are facts is not in fact.
Then why are
something
you
that needs to
telling
be
me?
explained.
So what you're telling me right now is that there are facts, but you can't tell me what they are or what that is.
I just told you what the facts are. No. Your question was specifically
I asked
makes
what is a
facts
fact.
facts.
What is a fact?
Oh no, that's not what you asked. A fact is an aspect of reality.
Oh,
it's actually not. No, certainly not from these people's view. And who is this weirdo on the screen? A fact's not in any sense of what constitutes an aspect of reality. From a Christian view, you could say reality is what constitutes reality is the invisible and invisible, but not from their view. No. Aspect of reality. What are you saying? Okay, we say like a tree is an aspect of reality. Where are the facts? Do you ever step in a fact?
Okay, and what makes that a fact?
What makes aspects of reality aspects of reality?
No, what makes a fact requires an interpreter, right?
Yeah. No, why would that?
What?
Be required?
Okay, well then, what makes it a fact?
What makes aspects of reality aspects of reality?
Yeah. Divinity is right here.
No, he's not, dude. What are you talking about? He's not right. A fact is a proposition about the states of affairs that need an evaluation to then come to an interpretation and then a proposition. And then we dictate whether the proposition maps onto the thing we're seeing, which is the multiplicity of particulars that we say is reality. The fact isn't found in reality. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to debate about what's a fact or not. You wouldn't have to come to a fact. It would just be in the material itself. This is so low tier.
Facts are aspects of reality.
No, they're not. Not in the sense you determine what reality is, like Tom Jump. Nope.
The Earth orbits the sun.
11 minutes. Yeah, we have 11 minutes to not reach the goal, y'all. Help me out a little. $5, $5 to go.
Some tables are made of wood.
No, dude. That required a mind. The table didn't exist without making the table. And even in the sense of it, the sun existing is a state of affairs that's just pure raw data. No statements about it.
Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. These are phenomena independent of minds.
No.
Andrew tries to push deeper.
No, see, you guys see the jump he just made? The phenomenon that occurs that's then described, the description is what constitutes what's necessary for things, because things themselves, when we say things are facts, what we're really saying is descriptions of phenomenon are facts or not. So water doing a thing that water does, it's actually not found in nature, the fact that water boils at. It's not a fact. It's not found in the boiling.
With the question, what makes something a fact? The answer is that facts function as presuppositions. The real problem is that
just debunks what you just said then. If facts function as presuppositions, then they're not identical to reality.
That Andrew doesn't even believe.
Presuppositions are mind dependent. It's a total contradiction. Are you tired of the world? You ever get the feeling of nihilism, but then you're nihilistic about nihilism? Looking for answers? Looking for a way to escape without it being unhealthy? Well, I have a 2-step process that I'm bringing to the market next Monday. I just can't even listen anymore. When is this other debate starting? Jeez. Like I'm like, oh, I want to listen to this guy. At least it's like more philosophically based or whatever. And now I'm like, should we listen to the feminist lady again? Sheesh. I'm gonna lock these people up. Got a 2-step remedy. It involves force and train cars.
Believe his own question. The belief is embedded in the act of asking it. Andrew already assumes the truth of facts.
He just contradicted himself.
100. So this is before the 19th, before no fault.
And I don't care because
I'm going to tell you,
it's irrelevant to the point that I'm making.
Guys.
55,700 divorces in the year 1900. You can't tell.
By the way, I hope you guys go over, even though you probably watched it long form when I did it, I made a nice highlight reel of the funny review of the weird Sarah Mullally church, insane church. So I hope you guys go over and watch it. It's pretty funny the way I edited it.
Tell me that women couldn't get divorces. Yes, they could.
Good. I'm not saying
they just didn't because it was highly stigmatized. It wasn't practical, and the incentives were not there. And what we've built now is a system that incentivizes divorce. It incentivizes waiting till your 30s to even start a family, and that's what needs to change. So we need to shift it and make it cool again
to get married.
We need to make it cool to get married young, to stay together. We should not be allowing or glorifying OnlyFans chicks, Instagram bikini babes. All that shit needs to go.
I absolutely agree with all of that. It's something that I practice in my personal life, obviously. But again, the answer, the solution to things is never to do anything by force or by taking away options, right?
What? Oh, this lady's all over. Look at Rachel. Look at her. She's like, are you this dumb? Can only afford 1/4 of a step. Thank you for that, Austin Titilio. Appreciate you. This is crazy.
Right. Do we want strong marriages? Yes. Do we want divorces? No. Do we think that it's a good idea to ban divorces so that people are stuck in...
Look, lady, the idea of a divorce, even legally, if you remove the very necessary institution called the church, whatever you call a marriage or a divorce, that's literally use of force. It's just like so crazy. These people are such nut jobs. A descriptive is doesn't come from the it. The nature of the being necessitates an interpreter and communicator. Yeah, like a knower, an evaluator. The naturalist says our interpretations are for survival. Not what is true. Yeah, that's a big problem with the movement of just pure survival or evolution. It's not geared toward truth, as Plantinga established in his arguments. But there's something even worse, Chase, which is the things they call an interpretation or an evaluation. They themselves ontologically are no different than the rock or phenomenon being described. So they're like, look at the phenomenon out there, and you're like, describe it, and they're like, I describe the phenomenon like this, and you go, under your worldview, what's the thing describing? And they're like, a new phenomenon, and then you're like, who's describing that phenomenon? This is why like materialism and physicalism is so insane once you get into it, because all of their thoughts and evaluations and statements, they're all just pure of physical events too. I'm sorry, why should I trust one physical event as a mechanism for relaying something about another physical event? The reason I quoted about is under pure materialism, if everything's just pure matter, matter itself has no aboutness to it. This is why this idea that the facts are embedded in the nature of the thing is incoherent, because there's no aboutness found in the matter. Again, if you say this to your girlfriend or your wife or your fiance, the correct response is a whiteout background, and she just wants to know if she can get up and get some popcorn to zone out on some terrible Netflix show. Don't expect a response. Having the feeling of being disconnected with your loved one or spouse or girlfriend because they don't really understand some deeply held things about philosophy and theology. Well, here's the thing. It's your fault. What do you want to cuddle up at night? What are you trying to cuddle up at night with a dude? Stop it. You guys know who you are. I gotta write that skit. That's a skit I have to do. The base trad young guys trying to find the base women, but they keep thinking they're supposed to sound like base men. I think that's kind of what happened with the whole like red pill groyper. Oh, watch out, the frog people. I think that's what happened with Nick Fuentes and company. I think they got so into the philosophy and mindset of what it is to be based in trad that their expectations of women, they transposed it onto women, and they shouldn't have. And they're like, then now they can't talk. If you like any of the chicks who went to one of those like meetups with the frog people, they all relayed the same thing back. They're like, these people are weird. They can't talk to women. If you don't know some weird economic platform from the 1930s, you're not based. Well, I want a woman who knows what happened before, I want a woman who knows what the Weimar Republic was. She doesn't even, look, Nick, she doesn't even know what the Weimar Republic is. What should I do? What should I do? Nick's turning the frogs gay. That's so funny. That's so true. That's like quite the meta. It's quite the meta when the memes, it's like memes you'd think are products of reality. But it goes both ways, bucko. Just look at the frogs being turned gay. It's like Alex Jones is right. It's not about everything, but he's right. Whisper St. Maximus, the confessor, into my ear, babe. Yeah. I'm like, Megan, I want to read a book with you. I want us to both read the same book. And she's like, what is it? Is it like Melania or something? I'm like, no. The Cosmic Mystery of Christ by St. Maximus, the confessor. Will you do that for me, honey? Will you do that for me? I just feel like we're not connecting lately. And I just feel like you being such a naysayer about some of these books, it's like, look, sweetie, right here, something that can get us closer. The emergence of Catholic tradition from 100 to 600. It's like, if you cared, show a little care. Show a little effort. Oh, so you're interested in Orthodoxy, huh? That's awesome. I'm looking for a good woman. Have you read, by the way, The Religion of the Apostles? No? Check, please. Check. No, it's okay. That's okay. No, this is, dating's hard.
Abusive relationships.
Do you think I want a divorce bank? They help sort out who gets what and what happens, and they are responsible for supporting women and children in the case of the husband doing something that would necessitate a divorce. That's how it was through all of history.
All right, non-religious couples or some
It's like actually talk. It's like Rachel's talking to. You guys remember Spaceballs? The gay robot was swapped out with the female, Joan Rivers. It's like even that robot is a little more like there than this robot. This robot is, I just can't even, I even feel bad for Rachel. But I mean, you guys kind of do it yourself. Andrew, Rachel, you guys. I mean, you're built for this. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, I mean, this is like self-harm. This is like a hot needle under my fingernail. It's like and such Hey, girl, you want to watch Gnostic Informant? You want to watch Gnostic Informant with me? Babe, you got to read this. Homily 1. Oh my gosh, you got to read this. You didn't get it? Oh, man. I don't know. We got to talk to the priest. We got to talk to the priest about this. All right. Is this evolution thing going to ever start? Will it ever start? I told you I was going to be jumping around tonight. I told you. What do we got? Basically, how many we got in chat? Does this thing still work? How many in chat? Wait. How many we got in chat? Still not working. I was trying to do my viewer count. 250. Wow. Wow. Well, bless you guys. Bless you guys for being here. Disco's here, so that matters. That's counts for everything. Agree, the exact material that is the brain and the exact same material that vagine glorifies. Yes, the fundamental elements. Yes, same thing. Vagine biting into a little, what she thinks is a steak sandwich, which is just a poop patty. Same exact phenomenon. Crazy, right? It's nuts. People are nuts. All right, let me see. Modern debate. You gonna get this cooking or what? 6 minutes? Sheesh, people. Sheesh. Pretty sure Jay talked about not Phil broing the ladies. Yeah, it's a big. I wonder if it's a bigger problem than people think. For the young ones, right? Because the young ones are concerned, right? They're like, I got to find a good woman. How do I find a good woman in modernity? Oh, well, she's Protestant. She's this, she's that. It's like, you were Protestant. What are you talking about? Double standard much? Oh, I'm no longer Protestant. I just went full-fledged into Orthodoxy. I'm based now. I'm ready to take over the world. Literally started a teaching program on the Filioque. Oh, you get a family yet? No. I just, I can't tolerate these Protestant chicks. You're like, weren't you just Protestant last week? I mean, yeah, but I'm different now. Totally different now. What do you mean? Come on, you know how it is, bro. A chicken comes from a chicken. A camel comes from a camel. Let's see, 350. Yeah, let's hit 350. I mean, I know better. I mean, who am I kidding? Set 6 p.m. prime time. Little old Jortlandia. Trying to set sail. I know what I'm getting into. I know what I'm getting into here. I'm not ignorant. I'm not some sort of damsel in distress. I see what I'm up against these days. These days I seem to think about how all the things that came about my way. Oh, and they're doing the time shift thing? Really? That too? I thought we just did that. How many times are we going to change the time? Bro's Protestant. Yeah, he's teaching catechism. Yeah. I'm a catechumen. Let me tell my priest all the problems at Orthodox. Yeah, I'm going to fix the church. I had that too, immediately. I even expressed it. Now, like, I'm not going to hit myself for it because I think it's justified, but I remember telling you guys early on where there was like a newer priest who gave a sermon, and he was like kind of glazing Origen, the heretic. And it's like, don't get me wrong, Origen, I think he was the guy who could transcribe in real time like 7 different languages, like, and not miss a beat. Like, so he was quite the brainiac. And honestly, brainiacs, they have a bigger problem because they get creative and they start outthinking things. They're like, what if it could be this way? But he was kind of glazing them and talking about oneness with Rome. And I was like, what the hell is this crap? And it was very early, pre-baptism. And I brought it up because I was new to the parish, and I was like, it came up like anything I wanted to talk about. And I was like, yeah, I do. I have something to talk about. That's not good, right, guys? You have to ask you have to say it like a question. You're like, well, that's not good, right? Is that good? Is that a good thing? Thought my evening was going to suck tonight. Then I come home to see Night Bob. That's right. That's right. Welcome, everyone. Are these people going to start? 2 minutes. I'm pumped, though. I'm pumped. Ken Ham and this other guy, I'm pumped. You know, because this is evolution versus creation. This is a 1 versus 1. This is a positive versus positive, which I never think is a great idea. But with Ken Ham, he'll make it interesting. Kent Hovind. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Kent Hovind. Ken Ham, Kent Hovind. I feel like this is a psyop. He pushed for full communion? No. We don't work. No. Sorry. Not happening. Even if it splinters the true church, so many away from the true church, and the true church is left with like 400 people. No. No. There's no way. Like, look, you cannot... I don't want to even get into it, but just papal authority and the Muslim stance, the authoritative Muslim stance for laity to follow, you have to go around and you have to say the sentence, I worship the Muslim God. You have to say that. You have to say that. That's it. There shouldn't be anything required of you after that to jump off that ship. It's really that simple. Oh, that's a reduction, Jamab. Yeah, it is. Thank God it exists. Forget all the debates. Forget all the intricacies of church history. If you don't even need that for this conclusion. Honestly, the only excuse you could have, which isn't a good enough excuse, is I was raised this way. My family still does it. My whole family does it. It's a family affair. It's one big unit. It's going to alter everything about holidays, Christmas, meetups. It's going to flip my entire life upside down. Yeah. That's also a biblical theme, isn't it? It's killing time. There it is. Here we go. Taco Bell, their little to-go bag should come with toilet paper.
I'm not dead yet. Get out of here.
You know what I like about this is James gets right into it. He just right into it.
Hey everybody, tonight we're debating creation versus evolution, and we're starting right now with Greg's opening statement. Thanks for being with us. The floor is all yours, Greg.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Dude, what is Ken Oven, what is this thing here? What is this? Dude, he's going analog filters. This is crazy.
Hey, Jim
Hey.
and Bobridge.
Hey.
Speaking of Ken, are you still going to try to get him on your show sometime in the
Yeah.
future?
Yeah.
I think it'd be very funny.
Yes.
Ja 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 ja.
Ja. Yeah, he's going to be on my stream. He will.
Having me, I appreciate it.
I feel like I could pull something like this off. This is very Tony-esque. Where's Tony? He's probably at church. Check this out. What is that? Full of sand? Oh, that's what it is. It's one of those sand disc globes where you turn it upside down and the sand falls. This is order. Order in the universe versus disorder. At least I'll be able to learn his voice to do an impression. I'm at like 41%.
So I am a bench scientist. I've been doing molecular biology for 17 years. So evolution is not just something that I read about, but it's something that I use in the lab in order to create better products, to create better organisms. And basically, evolution is the change of DNA over time in a population. So these changes, DNA is the heredity part of the organism that is passed on one to the other, and basically changes in that DNA accumulate and create different abilities.
And then I grew a dick, and then my grandma's a fish, and I'm a pile of bacteria, and George Floyd is an ape. And that's my opening.
Or new proteins, new abilities to congregate into multicellular organisms.
Thank you, Headfinny.
Create new metabolic pathways, anything like that. But so we observe it in nature. It exists and we see it, but then it's also something that we understand enough that we actually use it as a tool. And
you use evolution as a tool?
And this is what I think I'm going to be really focusing on in the debate, is that not only do we understand evolution, but we actually use it. So if evolution is not true, then there is something fundamental in these mechanisms that that we don't understand, that maybe Kent could elucidate, and we could create big breakthroughs, because with new knowledge.
Oh, gosh. First of all, no. Your view on what evolution is and what you think is true about the past and what happens in the past, like a Pakicetus becomes a whale, has nothing to do with Kent Hovind's ability to provide some alternative explanation for your presuppositions.
Through
people are so baked.
Scientific inquiry, we actually get technologies from that. So, so just going down the list.
I'm sorry. What technology did you get from the story that a land deer, some sort of water deer, became a whale?
List of things that I wrote down that are ways that we use evolution in biology. Directed evolution got the Nobel Prize by Frances Arnold in 2018. It created new novel bonds that never existed before in nature, and she created these for pharmaceuticals and biofuel purposes.
Sounds like a load of bullshit.
The annual flu vaccine only works because of.
It works? I'm sorry. You lost me there. Flu vaccine totally works because... Really? Really?
Evolution. We track the evolutionary path of these organisms, these viruses, and we track them. And
you don't track shit. You track nothing. What are you talking about? You don't track anything. You don't even track... people who don't get jibby jabbed versus do get jibby jabbed
in their populations, and we look to see where they're going in order to try to stymie evolution. The vaccines that we take basically are trying to stop evolution in its tracks inside of our system, and our immune system is evolved in order to try to stop that.
Wow. I mean, these people get funding. They get grant money.
Antibiotic resistance is another big thing. So MRSA, for example, only exists because of the antibiotic that we created, that we use, and it is a...
Oh, again, I'm sorry. Antibiotics, the effect on existing biological things on other biological things. My uncle was a fish.
Response to that it actually has that antibiotic resistance. CRISPR-Cas9. Again, CRISPR-Cas9 is a bacterial defense mechanism that it uses in order to change the DNA and go after pieces of DNA that it finds within the cell. So if evolution wasn't true, then you wouldn't be able to create the protein from a bacteria.
Okay, let me get this straight. If a Pakicetus didn't become a whale, then you wouldn't be able to extract and study proteins and their effects on the bodies.
Inside of eukaryotic cell.
These people are they should really just be locked up. I'm tired of debating. I'm just done with it. I just want to lock them up. Evolution is safe and effective.
You wouldn't be able to have that knowledge going forward and that evolutionary framework in order to have like nucleotides that are similar in different organisms that can be used and used as a tool.
Wow.
Mouse models that we use inside of inside of research.
What's that mouse model? What is that? Sam Harris's house? If debating evolution turns off women, is it counterintuitive? They must mate to carry out. Well, what's kind of funny about that is that I even brought this up with this guy. It's always a funny little jab at these people, is that the people who deny evolution are procreating more than the people who affirm evolution. So is that selected for
research? So we have human cells that are in the single cell stages, but then we also have medicines that we test in the mouse models. And the only way that the mouse models work, and the only way that it actually makes any sense, and why it's so why it is used, is because of evolution.
No, that's an assertion. What do you mean? Evolution is so ambiguous because of evolution. What? Because of a thing that you say happened? What are we talking about here? You wouldn't be able to do engineering if evolution wasn't true? What? How? Still waiting for that argument.
There is a lot to learn from these models through and about human metabolism. For GLP-1s, Ozempic, and all that kind of stuff. We understand better the metabolism that exists from Gila monsters from 1995 research into those mechanisms, and we create the knowledge about how that metabolic process works, create the GLP-1 agonists that are, become into that technology, and then that's what we're using.
You mean evolution is this assumption of natural things happening without an engineer or direction, and you wouldn't be able to do engineering if it wasn't for the non-engineered engineering. That's what I heard. If it wasn't for the non-engineered engineering and highly specific task-oriented systems that we could study and mimic, if it wasn't for that non-engineered thing, we wouldn't have our engineering.
Now, so again, if evolution is not true, then these technologies would not work. And if there was something fundamentally happening that we don't understand, then again, please let me know, and I will gladly take the Nobel Prize.
That's not how that works.
For it.
That's not how that works at all.
Recombinant insulin.
If evolution is false, then someone else would win an award. I'm a deep thinker.
This is another one. Basically, diabetics are using human-made insulin that's inside a bacteria. So again, this is a human gene that's being expressed inside of bacteria.
So pumped for Kent.
This is a human-style insulin that is created within the bacteria. That bacteria creates that insulin, and then we use it and deliver it into humans again. So if...
That's amazing. Can you get me... I'm sorry, Greg. Can you tell me how anything of what you're saying means that we came from a fish, please? Sorry. Just looking for anything you're saying concludes that I was a fish once.
If it was not true, then it wouldn't make sense. And finally, I do want to say, I think that this is a bigger debate, and it's fundamentally changed the course of how this debate plays out.
Not a single thing, Rich.
The context of it, okay?
Yeah.
The number one thing that I talk to and I debate anti-vaxxers with is that they bring up the fact that humans are somehow 900 years old at some time. That Kent is one of the biggest purveyors of this conspiracy.
I'm sorry. Listen, Bucko. Why is a 900-year-old human being incompatible with an evolutionary view? They could never answer this question. Well, it's just not what we see human beings to be today. Oh yeah, so a deer could turn into a whale, but the age of life couldn't be not identical to what we see today? No? Okay.
Conspiracy that humans used to live until 950 years old, and people now are going against medical care. They're going against medical science. They're going against the medicines that we have created.
You mean the medicines in Spain? You mean those medicines?
Through evolution, and they are sourcing Kent's work on humans being 950 years old at one time, and they're not now, so therefore humans aren't healthy now, so therefore I'm not going to take a vaccine.
What the hell, bro? What kind of a junkie are you, Greg Newkirk? You sound like a lunatic in the middle of an alley. You can't even construct regular sentences that make sense at all.
And I think that, I don't think that you went on this crusade in order to do this. I don't think that was your main goal, but I think that people are taking your words seriously enough in order to forego medicine because of it. And
who cares?
I just want to invite you to say that you are not a medical expert, that you are not saying because you say that you have a theological argument.
Hey, douchebag. What does that have to do with the topic of the debate? What makes more sense, creation or evolution? I just hope that you tell everyone right now, and now you own up to it, that you're not a medical technician and you're not a doctor, and there are some people who listen to you who think that because someone was 900 years old, they don't need medicine. And you gotta...
You are not saying that people should listen to yourself as opposed to a physician, as opposed to medical science, as opposed to the research that says that vaccines and medical science are safe and effective. So I just want to give you that opportunity.
Oh my God, what a smug prick you are. That was so condescending. I'm going to give you the opportunity to adopt my obtuse, arbitrary value assessment of reality and give you the opportunity, Kent, I just want to give you the opportunity to abandon your worldview and take on mine, and then get into the costume of apologizing. I feel actually violent. Flower pin goes through the skin to keep him awake.
To kind of clear the air and try to say that you didn't have that. You're not trying to do that.
Who cares? Who cares? Let's say, you know what? I am trying to do that. Who cares?
Thank you very much for that opening. And we're going to kick it over to Kent Hovind for his opening as well. But first, we have...
This guy definitely works for vaccine companies.
Have a quick housekeeping note, folks. If you haven't heard, DebateCon 8, Modern Day Debates flagship debate conference is happening July 25th and July 26th. You name it. You don't want to miss.
I didn't realize they thought I was the greatest conspiracy theorist against everything.
Everything. I'll get it. Everything.
No, I will not state that I think everybody should be forced to take a vaccine. I think it should be a personal decision. If somebody doesn't want it, nobody should be forced to take anything they don't want.
For any reasoning, by the way, Greg, it doesn't matter what the reasoning is. You don't get to know the reasoning, Greg. You commie.
The government should not be involved in this. If vaccines are safe, if vaccines protect you, go take one. How can anybody else possibly give you the disease? If you think you need them, go take all you want. But don't make me take them to keep you safe. Think about
look how quickly this turned into a talk about jibby jabs.
About it. That's dumb. Okay? So no, I will not state that. I think everybody should have freedom. to do what they want on the medical field. But you guys seem to want to use the government and the strong arm of the government to force everybody to do something because you think it's right, and they may not think it's right. So I think that is wrong at multiple levels. I will not state what you told me to state. But I didn't want to do this about vaccines tonight. Anyway, welcome. My name's Kent Hovind. I taught high school science and math 15 years. I'm not the world's expert on any of those, but I pretty well up to speed on the evolution creation debate. What you shared with us, Dr. Gregg, was evidence of intelligent design. These creatures, these bacteria, are able to evolve, I'll use that word, within limits. There are limits to how far they can go. You studied them for 14 years or something and watched it happen. I bet you've observed that they have variations that can happen, but there's limits. Farmers that raise cows try to get bigger cows if they're raising for beef, or more milk if they're raising for milk, but they always run into a brick wall. There seems to be a limit. There's a limit on just about the variation within any kind of animal. They now have 450 breeds of cows, and they're still cow. Recognizable, that does not prove they're related to a mosquito. But you guys get these variations within the kind, and you see these bacteria able to, develop a new ability to do something, and say, wow, because of this, bacteria are related to elephants. That's what you guys teach. That is stupid. And even if it turns out later to be true, as of today, it is not.
Yeah, that would be the equivalent. And honestly, we see that too. We get these people who are like, you just, they do this moralizing with someone who doesn't actually, they're not even considering adopting the worldview. They're so outside of it. And you're like, you're doing piety signaling.
Not part of science. So no, I'm not going to say that. Okay. This is what evolutionists never seem to get. I'm on all kinds of channels. They keep taking us off of YouTube, brother. I don't know why, because I'm the nicest guy I've ever met. But they keep taking us off. So we finally gave up. We put them on all other channels. Go to drdino.com. You can see all our channels. We have about 14 million views a month. Oh, I didn't realize I'm a fundamental. I got to go back and watch that conspiracy. People used to live to be 900, and because I'm against medical science, we don't live that long. No, there's a totally different.
Headfany, thank you so much. Huge tip right there. Thank you so much. From someone named Headfany, too. Of all people. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. The stream is the best stream. Thank you. Big W's in the chat for Headfany. One of my favorite shorts, too, that I've ever done. Thank you so much. Keep that up there. That nice bright red.
For a reason why the people used to live to be 900. The Bible clearly teaches, I got too many charts here. The Bible clearly teaches there was a time before Noah's flood came that people lived to be over 900. Flood. Many ancient cultures, India, Pakistan, China, have legends of the Golden Age. Just Google Golden Age. This is not just to the Bible. Dozens of ancient cultures say there used to be a time when man lived to be 1,000. The Bible doesn't have anybody living to be 1,000, but it says the ones that are named anyway in the 900s. And that's because the Earth had a richer oxygen concentration. Today it's about 21%. Back then it was about 32 to 35%. That's what they find in amber bubbles, 32% to 35% oxygen. Well, that would be optimum for the human body to live under. And I think it was greater air pressure. I'm a strong believer in what's called the canopy theory. I think there was an ice canopy above the atmosphere that compressed the air down to probably double atmospheric pressure.
Greg's like,
squeezed all the air that now goes out 50 miles down into maybe 10. I don't know.
Greg's not a good debater, by the way. He really shouldn't be debating. Now, I don't know. Kent Hovind, I've seen him debate. I don't really think he goes into debates from the perspective of how to be a better debater. He just kind of says what he thinks and says what he believes and says what he finds to be true and kind of just runs with it. But Greg's much worse because this is a worldview debate. And I gather neither of them are going to attack each other's worldview from a worldview paradigm. They're going to attack from a naturalistic paradigm, which is not actually in favor of Kent because you're then pulled into naturalism and empiricism to make sense, where that's not the fundamental nature of reality, isn't just physicality. So I have a feeling it's going to go in that direction anyway. Thank you so much. 2 more in 1 minute, you guys, for the most recent goal. Really appreciate your support. That's 2 in 1 minute.
That crystal canopy would be increase air
That's
pressure.
all
It
he
could
does.
be held up by the magnetic
Incredulous.
field of the Earth, since super cold ice is magnetic, or held up by the simple air pressure, like an inflatable building. You just pump up the building and it's inflated and stays up there. So I don't know. It's gone. I think it all fell down at the time of the flood. And the reason the lifespans dropped off is not because they weren't taking vaccines. Okay? The lifespans dropped off because they have less oxygen now, less air pressure.
Thank you, Abby. Appreciate
it affected
you.
everything. That flood
One
totally
more.
rearranged everything on the planet. And all the strata that we see, the so-called geologic column,
Thank
all
you so
formed
much,
in one
Abby.
year at Noah's flood.
Thank you, guys.
I cannot
Noah's
understand how
flood.
people cannot see the obvious stupidity of claiming the layers are different ages. If the top layer is younger, where did it come from? Where was it hanging out for 14.7 million years waiting to land? This dirt is the same age as this dirt. It can't be any...
Because they are listening to people like you and these conspiracy George
yeah.
Washington's. So actually the first public health campaign was actually a vaccine campaign by George Washington. So George Washington is literally on my side on this one. So you are again on your own here.
You know how stupid that is? You know, if you go back in history, Greg, there are people who are on your side, who were technically on your side on one thing, basically were feeding humans poison because they thought it was like a good thing. Like George Washington liked jibby jabs, therefore.
And I keep bringing this up
Holy
because
crap.
vaccines as an application of evolution.
What? Then the rejection of vaccines are an application of evolution.
If evolution is not real, then vaccines are not needed because humans don't need to actually.
Obviously, we didn't need vaccines. Need them for what? What are you talking about, dude? Did all of those people in Sudan who got an oral vaccine for polio who died from it, did they need the vaccine, Greg?
Actually, compete against viruses.
I hate this guy.
But the reality is that we do, and viruses cause disease.
The slave owner is on my side on this.
Viruses cause people to die, and people are now.
Well, no, hold on a second. That's a big claim, too. That's a huge claim. Viruses cause people to die? I'm sorry. Did you track that, or? Sorry. I think he's confusing, like, all sorts of things that affect humans.
Foregoing medical care because they are listening to people like you and these conspiracies that humans used to live until 950 years old. So now they're foregoing medical care.
Who is?
That people are listening to you and distilling your knowledge and going in that direction. So I'm glad that you agree with me that you're not a medical expert, that you do not know how human physiology works, that you do not know how.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you're saying that you are a medical expert now.
I did not stop that. I did not say I'm a medical expert, but I have a big understanding of physiology and anatomy and biology. I taught those for 15 years. This has nothing to do with me being a medical doctor. Let me finish your statement, though. You're claiming we won this war because George Washington.
James, let him combat the nonsense, bro.
George Washington vaccinated his troops. Okay. Are you aware that at the time George Washington was living, all the doctors believed in the doctrine of humors? They took George Washington's blood out, part of him, because he was sick. He got worse. They took out more blood. He got worse. They took out more blood, and he died. You think we should make it mandatory that doctors believe the doctrine of humors, and if you're sick, take out your blood?
That's not modern medical science. That's not.
I got you. Loser. Owned. You just got wrecked by Kent Hovind.
Modern medical science. So we're not going to go.
Okay, I got to jump in at some point, gentlemen, just because I'm totally open to hosting a debate on vaccines.
Stop that.
But I still haven't kind of looked into like how much YouTube gives flexibility on that. So
through this technology. So like we could say preventative medical procedures if you're more okay with that. But
exactly.
No, I'm not going to allow.
He doesn't even understand that. He doesn't even understand what Kent just said is, post hoc, it's easy for you to make these declarations, but you always think you're in the right from the scientific perspective. The science of today always thinks they're at objectivity. Now they always say, I would never say it's absolutely certain, but they appeal to all different time frames, and they never quite understand that they now could be the subject of many 100 years go by, and you look back, and they could be the ones who look like the doofuses. They never think that. They're like, no, we're done with, no, science went through the doofus section of life. We're done with that now. Now we're pure. We're good and pure now.
Use the same slide depth that he's used for the last 30 years and just rehash the same nonsense when we have an actual problem that we have in the country right now in regards to medical disinformation, in regards to science misinformation.
Oh, you mean like, I don't know, there's any meaningful reason to put a mask on your face and stand 6 feet away from each other? Like that disinformation? I don't know. The disinformation of, I don't know, the 80%, like some 80% spike in young athletes having some sort of magical problem with their chest? Thank you, Metal Stalfos. Appreciate you.
And people using the conspiracies that he pushes in order to actually harm people. So no, I'm not going to stop talking about it.
What does that have to do with evolution being true or not, Putz?
Okay. And I'm not going to stop talking about it either.
Second. You little Shabbos.
I disagree.
Okay, gentlemen,
okay?
the only concern I have here is if I would have known.
YouTube takes channels down. You're not allowed to mention. Yes, he's a communist. He thinks everybody should be forced to do something because somebody says it's better for them.
Commie. Yeah, you commie. Even your face is red.
Hold on 1 sec. I hate to interrupt, but
it also matched. Yeah, totally. That was gone. He was like, you remember how effective the jibby jabs are for the flu? Except for that 3 years where the flu completely disappeared for no reason at all, just because it decided to leave the premises for no reason. It was just bored. It was like the birds flying away for winter.
I do have to say, gentlemen, we do have to get this back on track. So I do want to redirect this back to creation evolution. Like, Greg, if you want, I'm like, is.
Terry, nobody has to listen to me. Okay.
Hold on one.
They're
just
listening
so
to me.
Greg,
Shut up. They're
Greg,
listening to me.
Muted.
Oh shit.
And they want me. Cut him off. It's my turn to
talk.
Moderator.
That's not
Moderator.
Greg. That's not Greg. It's me. Is it?
Okay.
Greg was.
Shut his mic.
Oh, just relax. Give me 1 second.
Nice.
Greg, just want to be sure that you knew that people weren't hearing you. You were still on mute.
Go ahead.
I want to give Kent a chance, and then we'll come back to you, Kent.
Yeah.
Shut
up. Shut me off when it's his turn to talk. Shut him off when it's my turn to talk. I will not continue this debate unless you do that, okay?
Ooh, that's an L. That's an L. You don't want to do that. You got to agree to that. You can't just make that. You can't do a T jump and be like, this is my ship. I am the captain of this debate. James is not going to like that right now. It's one thing James, no moderator would like is someone taking control of their moderating powers.
I don't like him stepping on my tongue, okay? Now, if he wants to make vaccines mandatory, he's welcome to preach that. But see, this is the communist philosophy. Government needs to decide.
Yeah, you dirty commie.
If he thinks they're good for you, great, go take them all. But I don't want to get into that topic. He could say, well, if you don't take them, it's bad. The kids are going to die. Some kids in the hospital with a brain tumor. You should see the dangers of evolution.
Yeah, how about that? How about the dangers of teaching people the paradigm of evolution, that their existence is meaningless, that there's no direction to existence, that they're an accident, that they were an accumulation of bacterial collisions.
He wants everybody to believe they came from a banana or came from a rock and they were a bacteria. We're all related, and there's no God controlling this universe. You should see the damage the evolution theory has done. This is exactly what motivated Adolf Hitler, Joe Stalin, Pol Pot in Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge.
I'm going to call him Pol Pot from now on.
The Japanese, they started the war. They murdered 17 million Chinese because they thought they hadn't evolved as far. It was evolution, his theory.
Yeah, how about the human zoos, Greg? You want to talk about the human zoos that existed not too long ago?
That he believes.
And I'm not talking about Baltimore.
That he thinks should be pushed, that it caused damage all over the world. That's a lot worse than a kid in the hospital with a brain tumor. So no, if you want to talk
Joey Stalin
about the dangers of what I believe and the dangers of what you believe, we can have that debate. I'll be glad to, okay? But no, I'd like to see what's the evidence for evolution. You guys claim I keep using this same chart.
Yeah.
I keep using these same tactics, these same charts because it's true.
Been watching Kent's debates for 15 years,
Show
and
us
I've never
evolution.
seen him crash out. So this is amazing. It's a really good opportunity. Sorry, Kent, that you're actually mad about someone actually holding your feet to the fire, about people actually interpreting the words that you say and then making a decision off of them.
as opposed to making a decision on what you say? What are you blaming him for? You're blaming Kent Hovind for people making decisions? Why?
And obviously, you aren't prepared to defend your ideology and your conspiracies because there are nothing to actually point to. You have.
That's great. How is it not a conspiracy theory or some whack job tinfoil hat view that you were a fish?
No studies, you have no actual scientific evidence for anything that you're claiming. So it's a conspiracy. That is what it is.
That's what he's doing.
And I'm going to invite you, please tell me one technology or one way that you have created from this knowledge that you have, this secret knowledge that only you and this other person has.
I thought it was.
One technology one medical breakthrough, one something that has come from your ideology and creationism.
The entire scientific paradigm was rooted in a philosophy of a created order to study. The entirety of the scientific tradition was informed by a philosophy that the world and the universe is created such that it's discoverable. I don't know if Kent Hovind's going to say that, but I'll say it for him.
Please enlighten us.
Give you same thing, 90 seconds.
Again, we got 3 topics on the table again. He does this all the time. I'd like one topic at a time, okay? I don't have any...
And this is exactly why I don't agree to evolution versus creation. It's like, not only you need a top-tier moderator for that, but you need about maybe at least half the time more. Half of the existent time added for that, because this is what happens. You give a serve, that's an evolution serve. It gets a return, that's a creation serve. And then you return with serves. And you're like, what the hell's happening? We need to do one volley.
Conspiracies. I believe the Bible is literally true. I'm not ashamed of that at all. I think it's true. Okay, if you think you're related to it, came from a bacteria, and you're related to a potato, then you should be proud of it. Stop eating your ancestors or cousins, okay? But
like that rhetoric.
I don't have any secret knowledge. This book's been out for a long time, okay? Probably the best-selling book in the world. No book beats this one, and I think it's got secret knowledge about it. As far as one good thing that's happened. Well, for
you
example,
should have started with that,
the Bible
Jason.
says we're supposed to eat the fruit, vegetables, and seeds, all right? 1 million sailors in the British Army died of scurvy. Just Google scurvy and the scourge it was in the health of people because they were traveling out at sea for months and they couldn't get vitamin C. So they started
well, that's not exactly true.
Taking limes on board, and they called them the limeys for years because they had barrels of limes, and they stopped dying of scurvy. They could have read their Bible and said, we need fruit, vegetables, and seeds. Wow, these guys aren't getting enough fruit. They could have solved that. But no, you guys would spend $10 trillion of other people's money searching in the laboratory, what's causing this disease? It's a lack of something, not what's causing it. There's a lack of vitamin C. It's like running your car out of gas, so you rebuild the motor.
No, it correlates, but it's not. There's further investigation. It's about the preservation of any of the food.
This is dumb. So if you wish to...
However, you can use that. This is how I use scurvy. I use it differently than Kent here. I use the scurvy example to pull my opponent into defending the scientific method to be rigorous. But I mislead them because they think scurvy has to do, colloquially people think vitamin C, but it's not reduced to that. But it requires a rigorous process called experiment to know under further experimentation that it's something else in addition. But the evolution proponent can't walk evolution through the scientific method the same way scurvy could be. Just had some potato ancestor chips. Yummy, sounds good. For the tennis analogy, while I'm about to start coaching tennis lesson, thank you so much.
Force this on everybody. That's where it's dangerous. And your religion of evolution is the most dangerous religion in the world. That has killed way more people than vaccines.
Yeah, again, more conspiracy. It's so funny that you use that as an example, considering that humans actually don't create our own vitamins.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal for him. He did very poorly against me. And I'm not just tooting my own horn.
Through evolution.
I'm not just playing a high C on my trumpet.
Yeah, it's a pseudogene. Mutations have accrued inside of the vitamin C producing gene inside of our genome. So that is why we actually ate so much fruit with vitamin C that we turned off our internal production of it. So we were eating more fruits and veg before the Bible even existed, so much so that we actually evolved to not make vitamin C. So again, no technology, no breakthroughs, no knowledge that Kent has about how things are actually working inside the lab or actually.
You'd imagine I lost to this guy? I don't know why you'd imagine that. He can't defend evolution.
If things that are evolving, what is actually happening. So I mean, Kent, what is happening inside of a viral population as it accrues DNA changes if it's not evolving? What is actually happening there? Please let us know.
Thank you. All right, Kent, I just asked you on mute.
Okay. All of the changes we've ever observed in any population, be it microscopic or macroscopic, any changes have been a loss of information or a variation of something that was already there. Now, you said there's been no studies done to support my claim. Let me explain it to you in small words, so maybe you'll get it. The Bible says 20 times in the first 7 chapters, the animals and plants will reproduce after their kind. Every farmer in the history of the world, not working in a laboratory with a lab coat, working with their hands and mud on their boots, they've observed cows produce cows and dogs produce dogs and cats produce cats, and there's variations, but there's never a change to a new kind. Talk about a laboratory, it's worldwide and it's through all history. Every farmer in the history of a planet Earth has observed cows produce cows, and when they try to get a bigger cow, they reach a limit. Take dogs as an example. They've been trying to get bigger dogs, smaller dogs, and now have the teacup chihuahua. You think they'll ever get a dog as small as a bacteria? I bet there's a limit somewhere. There's a big dog like the Great Dane. You think they'll ever get a dog as big as an elephant? There are animals like as big as an elephant, like an elephant. So there are limits. You will not even understand it, let alone see it. There are limits to the variations, and they're already in the gene code. They're already there. God made humans so one couple can have 10 kids, and all the kids can be slightly different. Some can have red hair, brown hair, blonde hair. They're still.
I will add to this, because what's true about the continuation of a type of animal always having embedded in it the instructions of what the next thing is. At the micro level, that's still true with DNA, like markers, DNA of where an arm grows, where and when an arm grows, how long an arm grows, right? These are all informed. So just like there's never an animal that comes from an animal that it's not, that's true. That even at the schema level, there's no animal that its body scheme unfolds according to something that it's not as well. And those things are tied together, but this argument is true at the universal level of an animal and what category they're in, and the way in which their body actually develops is also a part of it.
Still human. That's not evolution. That's why I go back to my chart. Joseph put that up. All we've ever observed is microevolution, variations within the same kind. And I forgot to write down, you talked to many things. You said you see me crash out. I'm not crashed out. I'm happy. I'm really joyful, okay? I just hate to see your stupid religion forced on everybody in the public schools. And you want everybody to be vaccinated, and it's stupid. Real stupid. Go ahead.
We'll go to switch it.
Okay, so what is limiting microevolution into macroevolution? Again, there is no such thing as micro versus macroevolution. There is nothing about that. That's a complete Christian apologetics thing that you've completely made up. That doesn't actually exist. Evolution is a single process that's like saying that I can't walk across the room. Saying like I can walk across the room, but I can't walk across a city or a town. It's
No, that's not analogous at all. You commie dweeb dork. I'm trying to cuss less, but this guy's not helping. No. That's like saying if a person walks across a bridge or a long enough path, they'll arrive not as a person, Greg.
It's the same process. There is no limitation. So please, since you understand biology greater than any other biologist, please let us know what is limiting within this biological organism that you are talking about, and please elucidate. Tell us what's happening.
Okay. Thank you. This is good. Much better. Am I unmuted now?
Yep.
First of all, Mr. Gregg, I don't need to understand what's limiting it. I think we could say all of human observation says it is limited. So what's causing it, that's not the question. Nobody has ever seen it. See, maybe you don't understand. Science is what we can observe, study, test, demonstrate. We observe cows producing cows. We do not observe them going any farther than that. That's why we have to distinguish, put my slide back up, Joseph. We have to distinguish what we have observed for all of history is variations within the same kind. But you wish to imagine that it goes beyond that to macroevolution. You believe, I suspect, that cows are related to sunflowers.
Mm-hmm.
They got them on the chart, all connected with lines. Do you believe students should be required to learn that cows and sunflowers have a common ancestor? Should that be required knowledge that every taxpayer has to pay for? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the reality. That's through biology. That's how we understand it. I mean, we pay for your nonsense too. We pay through it by your stuff not being taxed. So that we pay as societal tax for you to spread misinformation.
I really wish they would stop bringing in whether you think it should be paid for or not. Like, Kent Hovind, you can have this guy in the corner so easily. Don't give him a red herring that doesn't favor you, right? Just some unsolicited coaching. Don't give him who should pay for what. Forget that. That's a different question. The question is there any good reason to believe that any given biological creature is produced from a completely different one? Is there any reason to believe that?
Information and for you to spread conspiracies that harm people.
Oh, I don't have any conspiracies that harm people. Nobody has to listen to me. People have to listen to your religion being taught. It's crammed down their throat from kindergarten on. That's forced on them. Talk about forcing vaccines. They're forcing stupidity on kids, teaching them they're related to a banana, and you came from a rock, which came from a dot of nothing, exploding, rapidly
Didn't
expanding.
say we came from a rock. Again, just nonsense. Again, you're not even explaining evolution because you don't understand evolution. You don't understand how evolution actually works. I've never seen like a proper explanation of evolution by.
Good. You should ask him. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm totally ignorant to it. Can you educate me there, Mr. Gregg, science communicator guy? Dr. Gregg, can you tell me how it is that a cow is produced from a non-cow? That's what he's asking. Now, Kent, that's all you have to do. You don't have to take any of the bait anywhere else. All you have to do is push him into a corner and say, can you show me or explain to me biologically how it's the case that a cow is produced from a non-cow? How a human is produced from not a human. How a whale is produced from not a whale. Can you tell me how that happens?
This entire time. So again, it's just it's more science misinformation that harms people. People are listening to you, and they're not taking medical advice from professionals.
Oh, God, who cares,
and
bro?
People are dying now in the United States right now.
You could just bite the bullet and say, yeah, who cares? How does that make evolution true? Brah. Kent has the guy emotional. Yeah, that's true. He does. He is triggering him. I'll give him
now
that.
We have epidemics, outbreaks of measles, tuberculosis, whooping cough, all this stuff going on.
Oh no, there's so much going on.
Then you should condemn it. Then you could.
This guy wants to save babies from getting a flu, but the month before the baby is born, where they have to jibby-jabby them, right? I mean, think of this. I got to meme this, honestly. There's a rich meme in here. These psychopaths like Greg, Bernie Sanders fan, Bernie Sanders loves chopped up black babies. He loves it. Love it. It's my favorite thing. My entire career is based on the lonely, husbandless black who is given the freedom to completely dismember the baby parts. Now get this. This guy thinks it's really important once a baby's born to jab them with 80 plus jibby jabs the moment they come out. But the moment right before they come out, you can mangle them. Make it make sense.
Should condemn people like not taking
Chop suey!
Vaccines based off of nonsense of thinking that humans are 900 years old. I mean, that should be so easy for you. You should say, this is just a theological argument.
Thank you. Yeah. Is there more? Why couldn't... Wait, I'm sorry, Greg. It's not possible for animals to evolve to live to 900 years old? I don't understand the problem here. Thank you for that, Fiverr. What's the problem here? That's what Kent should say. I'm sorry. Are you saying from the evolutionary view, it's not possible that something can evolve to live that long? I don't get it. What's the problem?
That I have an understanding of this is what happened in but this is not a medical argument. This is not what I'm trying to say or push on people. It would be so easy for you just to say that, but you refuse to.
It'd be just as easy for you.
What does that have to do with whether evolution is true?
You to say, we've never seen evolution, but we think it happened.
We do.
Okay, it's a religion. All you've seen is your bacteria change to a different kind of bacteria. That's all dog breeders see. Dogs produce dogs. Some have long hair, long legs, short legs, long tail.
A way to pin the evolutionists is to ask them if beliefs themselves are objective, and if so, distinguish belief from knowledge objectively. Yeah, but Chase, that's so high tier. Like, I'm dying to debate an evolution proponent who would even understand that question, Chase. You know what I mean? Like, you're on the roof of Hogwarts, and they're just entering the gates with that one. I wish, though. I wish. You can't find them, really, though. They're like, what? What are you even saying? Word salad. Chase, that's just super... That's way... See, we're snobs here. Jortlandia is an island of philosophical snobs. They're like, what? We're like, why can't you... We should just ask them these hard-hitting, undercutting defeater questions, and the thing is, they don't even understand the question. They're like, what are you... They're like, where's my mommy?
Tail, curly tail. Always dogs, though, always. That is science. Science is what we can observe, study, test, demonstrate. What you're doing in your laboratory is religion. You're looking to defend your faith that bacteria can produce a whale if you give them enough time. And you said clearly a minute ago, you don't believe we came from a rock. Watch this. Earth formed 4.56 billion years ago, 4.5. It was a uniform ball of hot rock. At first, Earth was a ball of hot rock. Earth started off as a hot ball of rock. Earth started off, let's see, a hot
ball of rock. Write that down. Potential song title. I just want to get it out there. Well, I can. Hot ball of
viscous
rock.
Ball of rock. Why don't you call National Pornographic and get them to take that out then if you don't believe it? That's a peer-reviewed journal saying, look, you came from a rock. Yes, you do believe you came from a rock. Now stop hiding. No. Don't be embarrassed about it. I know. We didn't come right straight from a rock. You do.
Again, no. So it's so funny to me that they're so mad about me like bringing up people, the direct application of people using your knowledge and what you spewed for decades on this earth, but then the slight and yet how are you bringing geology into this? How are you bringing Big Bang into an evolution?
Hi, Jim Bob. Wanted to share that I was chrismated today. Glory to God, into the Orthodox Church. Amazing. Pray for me and my fiance to follow my lead. God bless. That's awesome, Jameson. Cool name, too. Glory to God. God bless you and your fiance.
Like discussion. It's just, again, you're just misconstruing and you're just slapping evolution on everything. And it's just nothing but conspiracy nonsense.
James, I'm baffled that this has gone 40 different directions. No, I'll take my ground very simply. I believe the Bible is literally true. God created the world. He did it in 6 days, about 6,000 years ago.
2 minutes, 2 left. 2 minutes, 2 left. Hovencore, keep Hovencore going.
I don't demand that be taught to all the kids. I think it is true, and I'm going to teach it to everybody I can. But see, mine's all voluntary. Do you work in a laboratory that is government funded in any way? Does the taxpayers have to pay for your salary in some way or pay for your institution?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you want to continue that, don't you? You think everybody should be forced?
I mean, a lot of our funding's been cut because of Trump. So there you go. There you got your wish. There you go. Yeah,
good. I mean, shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. Because cancer research. Yeah, that's the why we're trying to get cancer research shut down now.
Dude.
I mean, it's just nonsense. Again.
Kent, you got to keep this guy in the corner, man. Just grill him on a whale coming from a deer. That's all you have to do. Forget taxpayer stuff. Forget it all. Show me where a whale can come from a deer.
And by the way, cancer research and cancer gene therapy is existent because of evolution, because cancer cells try to out-evolve the immune system that we have, and we, through gene therapy techniques, try to stop the evolution of cancer evolving inside your body. So again, everything is related in biology to evolution.
Thank you, Richie.
And the fact that you think that you know better than the entire field of biology, and yet you have no capability of creating any new technologies, any type of knowledge from that, just shows that you're dabbling in conspiracy, snake oil salesman nonsense, and you're harming people on top of that.
Dude is just reading a script. I think there's a poster of Not a Professor Dave, like a hologram facing Greg right now, just telling him what to say.
You might not know this. I started World War I too. That's my fault.
Yeah, you can play it off, but guess what? This is actually happening, and this is actually harming people. Public health is actually being impacted. I mean, you can hand wave it, but I actually love thy neighbor. I actually care about public health. I actually care about people. Where's your Christianity? Where is your Christianity?
Oh, I use it every day. I use it. We're going off another rabbit trail. Another rabbit trail. I'm still asking the question. Have you ever seen in your research of 14 years watching bacteria swim around, have you ever seen a bacteria produce what anybody would call a non-bacteria? It's just a yes or no. Have you ever seen that?
Nice, dude. Nice. W, Kent. Nice job. You didn't take the bait on that. He sold you some emotional bait. He wanted to get you baited in with some moralizing, and you said, no. Show me where this thing becomes another thing.
No, not directly, but we have absolutely new metabolism. That's how it works. There is no mechanism. There is no limitation biologically or mechanistically to stop evolution from happening. I mean,
unbelievable. He's asking what's happening. You're saying there's nothing stopping it from happening. Talk about dogma. Sounds like a chant, dude. What are you talking about? He's asking you, Greg, show me the process or any reason to believe that a whale comes from not a whale over a certain amount of time. Oh, there's nothing stopping it from happening.
We're talking. We have fossils 3.8 billion years ago of cyanobacteria, and then we have basically eukaryotic organisms that evolved about 700 million years. So we're talking about 3 billion years of evolution for a bacteria that goes, that can replicate every hour. So yeah, there's a lot of generations that can happen.
So let's grant you that bacteria can reproduce like Mexicans for a second. Do they ever turn into Mexicans? He's like, well, rats can reproduce a lot, and so can fungi, and therefore that leads us to believe that it eventually skips out of its category and becomes a bear, you see?
And we have seen citrate metabolism evolve in long-term evolution experiments. So that is a new way and a new ability in order to actually use new substrates.
One topic at a time. You just said a minute ago they found bacteria, 3.8 billion years old, and they're still having bacteria today in the laboratory. You've never seen.
It's efficient. It's good.
James, shut him off when it's my turn, would you? Okay.
I'll give you a full
you have never seen in your laboratory in 14 years of watching bacteria swim around at taxpayer expense, okay? You have never seen a bacteria produce a non-bacteria, but you say it takes more time. But 3.3 billion years ago, they were still bacteria. Has anybody else ever seen a bacteria ever produce a non-bacteria? There's a lot.
Brutal. Nice job, Ken. That makes it even worse. Bacteria, there's enough time, it produces bacteria, and bacteria produces really complex bacteria. And 1,400 million billion years ago, bacteria really turned bacteria into bacteria. Well, I'll give you all the time you want. Is there any reason to believe that bacteria turns into something more, anything other than bacteria, and certainly more complex than bacteria, insofar as what it is, how it is, where it is? No.
A lot of people using taxpayer dollars to watch these things swim around. Show me where anybody can show. God said they bring forth after their kind. Bacteria always produce bacteria. That is not legitimate reason to connect them on a line and say bacteria evolved into a whale. But you want that to be mandatory teaching, don't you? Go ahead.
Yeah, just shut it down and give it time. Maybe cancer will turn into orange juice.
Pardon my delay. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, we should have it mandatory thinking, because that's how, like, as scientists, like, we create knowledge and technologies that run the entire economy. And
have you ever wanted to create knowledge? Sign up for a science course at DeVry University. If you woke up thinking, I want to create knowledge, you might be on your way. We have a 2-step program right here where you too can create knowledge.
we create trillions of dollars of value through our expertise and the patents and the companies that are created from the knowledge that we create. So there is a huge impetus for the government to fund scientific research. So I'm sorry, and honestly, guess what? If you had any way to elucidate any of these mechanisms, I'm asking you right now. I would plan the experiment with you for the next hour and a half, and we could go 50-50 on the patent, and we could split the Nobel Prize. But the problem is that you don't have an understanding of how to actually create new knowledge, because all you're doing is reading a conspiracy pamphlet, and you have no new knowledge that you are actually creating.
Well, again, one topic at a time. You have never seen a bacteria produce a non-bacteria. Nobody has ever seen a bacteria produce a non-bacteria. Let's make it simpler. There are now 500 varieties of chickens. We got about 20 in our science center here.
No new knowledge? Is that like no more news? What is he talking about? Look, you can't even follow a simple... Look, Kent is literally just asking you, bro. Have you, is a yes or no question, have you ever seen bacteria turn into something that's not bacteria, or any other animal turn into anything else? The answer is no. Okay, great. Why should we believe that happened?
Here we teach about chickens, or we teach about all kinds of fun stuff at Dinosaur Adventureland. You should come see our science center where we teach real science, okay? But there's 500 kinds of chickens. Nobody's ever seen a chicken produce a non-chicken. Never. Is there any, I don't want to hear a theory about if we had billions of years, has anybody ever observed a bacteria produce something that anybody would call a non-bacteria? Has anybody ever observed, has any farmer in the history of the planet ever seen a cow produce a non-cow, a chicken produce a non-chicken? Where's the evidence for your religion? You want to believe they're all related? Go for it. But teach that in a private school where people want to pay and come learn it. And if people want to pay and go get a vaccine, let them.
Dude, come on, Kent, man. Focus, bro. You have him pinned. All you have to do is keep pressing on him. Stop giving him all these political routes. Thank you. Just hold him in the ropes, dude. You got him in the ropes. Just keep going with that. Any reason. Okay, there's no reason to believe a deer became a whale. Okay, is there any reason to believe that an organism through some sort of random mutation produces the vestibular system and how it works? Is there any reason to believe that?
And tell you what, if you really believe it should be mandatory and you think it should be forced on everybody, I will pay for you to move to...
If poop was a living organism, it would definitely prove evolution. I'll keep the experiments going.
To North Korea. That's what...
The thing I never understood either was how did animals get organs? Yeah, this is like one of their worst... Like every debater who is trying to defend evolution against me, this organs and the granularity of their function in relation, not just their function, but their relation to the whole body. The more you look and learn about this and you're able to at least even at the surface, articulate what's happening. Like, I don't understand, even 10% of the complexity of the vestibular system, which is responsible for our balance and spatial awareness. Look into that. It's insane. And when you press them on this, you go, do you even know what's happening with that system? Like there's fluid inside these little tubes, and the fluid is moving through the tubes. And the fluid itself is composed of such a precise combination of matter that it can carry electrical currents that are meaningful to another system. That the delicacy of these electrical signals, they're so nuanced, and they're dependent on a type of fluid. You can't separate these two. They deliver useful, meaningful information to the rest of the body to correct your balance. It's like, oh no, that developed. Really? Developed in an animal that needed orientation? Yeah, no, the previous animal didn't need orientation. It just kind of moved around lazy. It looked like Tom Arnold in the early days. And then it finally got it. One evolution Christmas Eve. I would like to know how an evolutionist can claim, quote, we create. Yeah, that's hilarious. What's the causal mechanism that produces the human with the effect of the will to create? Yeah, that would be an accident too. They're nutters. They're complete nut jobs.
That's what they do over there. Take me up on it, please.
Okay, since you're such an expert on microevolution, please let's elucidate it. How do you stop a outbreak of a virus that's happening right now?
What is it possible that evolution is false and there's a way to figure out how to stop outbreaks among populations that already exist? Oh man, this guy's smug. I want to debate him again.
How would you do it? If you have this microevolution expert knowledge that you have somehow created a thought tunnel with a divine creator that knows.
Based Father Spyridon. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever have that class of people on for some reason. It's not because I don't want to well, it could be. I'm a bit picky. Not who I want on my show. I'm picky about those types of people. I have a weird position on it. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about this. At least those of you who are Orthodox. I should talk to Tony about this. I hold these people in high regard to not turn them into YouTube commodities or personalities, with the concern that that mechanism it changes something, and I don't know what. It could be irrational from my perspective. That's just my intuition. If I were to try to isolate what it is about that, I don't like to see it. Even that, remember that demonic woman with the accent who attacked that one priest? He was just with his family, and she comes up, starts a fight with him basically, and he's forced to react and defend himself, but he's also caught off guard on YouTube, and I don't know. I just feel like to interact with these people inside of a parish setting or privately or away from the screens for some reason preserves. That's what I think. I just think that. Every organism needs the brain to send it to the correct signals to function and not kill the organism, so therefore the organisms would have to evolve depending on another not random mutation. Yeah, and also, Brady, if that's a necessity, then you have another irreducible complexity thing. And it's not just a part, it's an actual function that if you didn't have it, it's not just the existence of a thing. Usually the irreducible complexity argument's oh, look at the flagellum. If these three components weren't there, it would just fall apart. And it's not just a piece of something, it's what they do. And if organisms evolved for the dependency of correct signals, then they had to exist without the dependency of correct signals. Why would you build a dependency? That's not an advantage. You're already mastered not being dependent on the new thing. Well, let's build a new thing we don't need to be dependent on it. That doesn't make any sense. That's like a government program.
Was this better than...
That's like evolution's entire paradigm is like every next feature is a government program. You're like, what are we doing? Why are we spending calories and energy on something that we have no intent or mind to evaluate the fulfillment of? You know? Why? Here at a YouTube channel? Yeah, I'm like, there's something about it. But I know that, like, also there's another side to it. Like, that's how you reach people today. Like, that's the nature of a telegram today. That's the nature of a newspaper. It's digital. So I have to just get over it. I'm purity spiraling.
Than any scientist. Let's just talk about microevolution, since that is you can only talk about one word at a time. So let's talk about microevolution. How do you stop evolution happening within a viral population? What would you recommend?
If I saw a virus that was killing millions of people spreading across the nation, I would look at all kinds of different things. This is like a diamond, has a properly cut diamond, has 57 facets, 57 ways to look at this thing. I would look and see, have we been spraying stuff in the sky, chemtrails, that's causing this problem on Earth 20 years?
Oh, I don't know why he's laughing. All he's saying is that if something's in effect, you want to look for the cause. Like, there's nothing crazy about that.
Later, I would look at, maybe they've been putting stuff in our food that's causing this. Shut up. It's my turn to talk, okay? Shut him off. I would look, you're not even willing to look at that. Oh, the government.
I don't know why he's laughing at that. That's actually scientific thinking. Is there anything causing this? Maybe it is ridiculous. Maybe it's completely ridiculous. Once you experiment, maybe it's just null. You know what I'm saying? He's just laughing at it. He's laughing at this guy actually saying the correct questions for correct hypotheses in science.
I'm never going to do anything wrong. I would look at the evolution theory, which I would go through in my video number 1.
Shut up!
The population of the Earth today is about 8 billion people. But there have been many people who voted for Bernie Sanders are saying, we need to reduce the world's population because humans are causing the problem. Satan was told in the Garden of Eden, someday some seed of the woman's going to bruise his head. And he's been trying for 6,000 years now to kill every human being. When Herod wanted to kill baby Jesus, he killed all the babies. And there are people with your philosophy who say, it's okay to kill people, as many as we can. Kill them before they're born if you want. Kill them if they're sick. Euthanasia. Kill them. Maybe I would be willing to at least look at it. You're not willing to look at it. Maybe this is intentional.
Mike Martinez, I'm lost because I'm talking to a room full of dumbasses trying to disprove a theory. Oh, excuse me. That was derived from people who advanced tech. Where does society advance to, Mike? Can you tell me what the standard for advance is, please? What do you mean by advance? How do you know society's advanced? What's the standard? What's the methodology, sir? No, I'm definitely interested. And you're saying evolution is a theory? Unbelievable. Society advances society. We live in a society.
Maybe somebody...
Where did it get us to, buddy?
He's doing this. Maybe somebody's spreading something in the water, like forcing fluoride on everybody. I don't know.
Hey, Mike, I have a question for you, bucko. Do you think it's a necessary condition for advancing society, whatever your standards, is to have people reproduce? Let's have a real conversation with Mike here. Would you think it would be one core essential necessity for society is to have people to procreate? Do you think that? This whole room has never used medicine in their lives? Medication? Well, you're clearly on medication. I don't know if that's I don't think that's the gotcha that you think it is, buddy. Nobody in this room is highly medicated. That's why you guys are confused. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. You're banned. You're actually too dumb to engage with, so you're gone. I'm getting quicker at this. Out of here. Out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here, Mike. Go back to whatever you were doing. Go advance your life.
But I'd be willing to look at it. You're not willing to look at it. Your only solution to the...
You guys aren't even medicated.
...problem is more government...
Are you tired of being the only one in the room who's not medicated with some psychotropic drugs like Mike Martinez is on? You feeling left out? You feeling like a real loser? You feeling like your life doesn't have any real substance? And by substance, I mean pills, powders, capsules. Well, we can solve that. We have a 2-step program that you can sign up for right now with only a deposit of $219.99 per month. 3 installments for 3 years, for 6 months each. And you too could be of substance. I mean, look at the people in the room. You figure it out. Don't be on the wrong side of history. Get some substance in your life. Get some substance in your body. Signing off, Mike Martinez.
Government funding for more research.
We need the medicine. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let's do that right now, actually. Good call. Shout out to Tony for being an absolute musical legend. I'm like, dude, how do you... I'll call it medical music. How do you make big pharma? Maybe Tony's a Fed. How do you make big pharma music, dude? How do you even do that? Seriously, dude. What the heck, bro? Tired of being the only one in the room who's not hyped up on all sorts of medication, powder dripping from your nostrils with a bloody nose dipping on your lip? Tired of being the only one not fidgeting on a park bench, shitting your pants, waiting for someone else to pull you away in some sort of wagon, some radio flyer? Well, that can change right now. We've got a load of substances for you that'll probably get you away from your religion and your virtues and your self-control. You too could be an animal in the street, as if you'd taken a trip to Baltimore. It helps a lot. And the good thing is it's affordable. We have a 2-step program with 2-step payment installations, starting with $219.99. Don't miss out. This is a great opportunity for you to completely disassociate from your reality. What are you waiting for? You only have one life to live, I think, so you might as well send it into the ground early and give some room for other people, you know? Have you guys met my friend Mike Martinez? He seems to be working it out quite fine. Please, not Baltimore.
Research to find a way.
If I do one of those every stream, I'll get really good at it.
Destroy some bacteria so it can't swim anymore. So you're not willing to even look at the other obvious. Maybe it's a...
Tired of stepping on a needle, but you got nothing out of it? Tired of stepping on a syringe on the beach, but you don't get anything out of it?
Dietary thing. The British Navy lost 1 million sailors, died of scurvy, because they were busy looking for what's the germ, what's the virus, whatever they called it back then, you know? What's causing this? It wasn't something causing it. It's a lack of vitamin C. If you
It's not, though. You gotta get more rigorous.
ran out of gas, you'd rebuild your engine rather than check the gas tank. Go ahead.
And I'll switch it over to Greg.
Protein that's present, do you think that that is new information that that cell has?
You're saying there's a new protein that is present in the DNA. There's a protein in the DNA in the cell. So there's a new protein in the cell that is present, and you're claiming this is because of the mutations that accumulated, the changes in the DNA code. The changes in the DNA code created a new protein, or they allowed the new protein to come in, or they created a new protein.
Within the DNA changes itself, yes. Would you say that that is a new amount of information that is created within that evolution experiment?
I'd like to see the scientific proof that that is the case, and even then, I'd like to examine it further. Is there something else? I'm getting cramps. I drove to Indiana and back.
I'm getting cramps. Oh, I love this guy. God bless you, Ken Hovind. I'm getting cramps.
Twice, and I'm tired. And I should got
tired and cranky, and you're not helping.
More magnesium.
You commie prick.
Is it okay if I take a vitamin instead of get a vaccine for my muscle cramps? Would that be okay?
Oh, he's doing a bit. Nice, dude.
Again, if you can run, are you trying to change the subject because you're scared, or
No. I'm just pointing out my.
Okay.
I'm slightly distracted.
You can. Yeah, you're
bicep,
distracted.
It's the biceps femoris is cramping, and it's probably a magnesium or potassium deficiency. But I think we should start giving everybody vaccines against muscle cramps. Let's everybody line up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just against communicable diseases and to keep everyone safe.
Keep everyone safe. Yeah. Tell that to all the young people who are no longer with us because they got a jibby jab to their heart.
Just like how were safe because of the polio vaccine when you were a kid, and you got the polio vaccine, and now you're denying that same ability.
You deny? I'm sorry, Greg. Do you want to talk about the polio vaccine that in the Sudan, the oral one? Would you like to bring that up?
For other kids in order to try to spread disease and harm to other people?
We'll get James's channel shut down here.
So
we don't
mad.
want to do that.
You're so mad, dude. You're just...
This guy sucks, dude. I just want to fight him.
Crashing out.
Forget debating. Probably maybe lose. He seems like someone who would know like jujitsu or karate, I bet. But just to fight him anyway. I'll get one hit in. Anyway, I can't watch this anymore either, honestly. So, do you deny magnesium? Do you deny magnesium? Well, he got a couple of good ones in there. He got him to basically show it's impossible for Greg to defend that one animal as a universal type, kind, comes from another one. There's no justification for that belief. There's nothing we witness today that leads us to believe that that's a possibility. Or they can't even explain, even if they imagined it, they couldn't explain it. They'd rather pretend they don't understand and continue to be wrong than admit they understand and concede that they were wrong. Yeah, well, this is Kent's right. This is a religion. This is a dogma. This is naturalistic dogma. It's like you're not going to get behind the fact that the idea that it's a fact, the notion that we are creatures that come from something we're not. That everything you see comes from something it's not. And that thing came from something it's not. And that thing came from something it's not. Do you deny magnets? Are you tired of denying evolution and the ramifications socially? Tired of the ostracization? The demeaning comments and looks that you get in public? Are you tired of being the only one who doesn't believe Grandpa was a fish? And that all of your thoughts and concerns are derived and caused by neurological collisions? Well, you're not alone. There's a great amount of us who are right there with you, alone, feeling alone at Thanksgiving, while Daddy says, pass my cousin, and Mommy says, I just drank my grandma, and you're confused, and they look at you all together and say, what, you don't believe in evolution? And you say, maybe we shouldn't talk about this at Thanksgiving. Well, those days are over. We have a two-step program where you get 2 injections and you too can believe in evolution, just like the people you're surrounded with. No more feeling alone, no more feeling sad, no more feeling dumb. 1, 2 injections, 2 installments of $2,199.99, and you're free. George Floyd was an ape. See, that one's better. That one was better. I think we could wrap up the stream. You know what I'm saying? Jim Bob's infomercial. Yeah, that's how I'm going to make it, you guys. All of the work I did streaming, 19 hours, streaming in a Prius, making stuff, songs, animation. Nope, that's not the episode of Black Mirror we're in. We're in a different episode of Black Mirror. Hey, if you just do one thing over and over again, like if you guys are all wondering, like, how do I make my life work? How do I have a clear income stream? How do I develop something that I just don't have to rely so much on everything else out there in the world and being lost in a sea of it? How do I do it? You just do one thing over and over again. That's it. And I'm the worst at it. I was right there with you. Yeah, that one must have hit hard. That last one. That's a good one. I love this idea. I really like the idea of not just infomercials, but they're all pharmaceutical injections. That's the funniest part, where it's like, I could probably come up with 30 injections that solve, like, whatever. It's like the obvious ones are like racism. Xanax was very clear. But like even small thoughts and beliefs like evolution is a pretty funny one. Pills, injections. Such and such and such and such. All right. Anyway, you guys are lovely for being here with me on the busiest night on the internet. Busiest night on the internet, for sure. So, there's that. What? You know who could use a raid? Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson can use a raid. He can use the whole lot of you. Watch that ticker jump up. Well, it's fun. I'm glad I got a new bid in, though. That's cool. Thank you, whoever... it was so obvious. I can't believe I didn't see it. Thanks for telling me about the music, and shout out to Tony. Go follow Hello Listener. How good is that music, though? It just works every time. It's so good. I might have to commission him a whole slew of them. Like a rotation of 3, maybe? Here's your go-away party, you guys. That's what I call it. It's not a going-away party. It's a go-away party. Thank you so much, by the way, for everyone who donated today. Very, especially the very hefty ones. Extanglia, shout out. Extanglia. A couple others in there. Really appreciate it. Give a follow. Give a like. Give us a smile. Go give a like to that recent video I made. I'm trying to get some of my pre-made videos circulating. I know it's hard against the current of YouTube who hates me, especially after that little pew-pew incident. That wasn't good for me. So I need your help. We're all salmon swimming upward stream if you're wearing Jortlandian shorts. So we need to be active. So with your help, we could probably get to the next brook. Give us a smile. What else? I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. God bless you all.
Jimmy cut corn and I don't really care no more. What he gotta say, it's irrelevant. Once upon a time, could have been a partner of mine. Now he's getting checks from the government. I don't care where your idol stands, protecting his hands from culture jams with the oven. Guess another soldier got caught, all ain't what you thought. Nothing here is done for the fun of it. I don't care what you say, I'm on some new shit. I don't care if you're digging what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about my music. I don't care, you're not the reason I do this. Always up, always going. I don't care if I die without you knowing. Tried to catch your eye for a stint until I realized what that meant. Jimmy cut corn and I don't really care no more. What he gotta say, it's irrelevant. Once upon a time, could have been a partner of mine. Now he's getting checks from the government. I don't care where your idol stands, protecting his hands from culture jams with the oven. Guess another soldier got caught, all ain't what you thought. Nothing here is done for the fun of it. I don't care what you say, I'm on some new shit. I don't care if you're digging what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about my music. I don't care, you're not the reason I do this. Always going. I don't care if I die without you knowing. Tried to catch your eye for a stint until I realized what that meant.